Even young in my book. 51 is the number of years of experience the Zuber team has in local real estate. It's a fact that Darren and Daryl spend thousands in marketing each month to get your home in front of the right, most qualified buyers in existence. It's research, baby, and I'm really big on that. The Zuber team with Real Broker. They've sold almost 7,000 homes since 1971. And they do things that other brokers just won't do. Like the instant cash offer, that's been a biggie. There are a million reasons why you might want to get out of your house right now. With the Zuber team, you can just go straight to sold if you want to. So your home needs a few repairs, and the Zuber team, they're going to be there to take care of that, and that'll get you top dollar when your property is sold. Click Zuberteam.com, Zuber. Hey, how would you like to be a part of the Zuber team? You'll get the tools, you'll get the confidence, you will succeed. Google Zuber team and go for it.
License number 1213700.
It's Chris Daniel for Unwired Broadband. Still living in the country for 14 years with Unwired. Why would I leave? Why would I not avail myself to the service you could get in the cities that isn't provided to people who choose to live in the country? Why would I put myself through sketchy satellite service? Why would I put myself through gouging rates just because they could get a signal to my house from space? I never wanted satellite internet anyway, and Unwired isn't. I get unlimited data, guaranteed speeds, it's great for streaming and gaming, and it's all fast, affordable, and reliable. And none of those stinking hidden fees either. Don't get held hostage by people who think and act like you don't have a choice in internet service if you choose to live somewhere out there. And it's more than just my house. What about your farm? What about your enterprise? What about your job that depends on ag? Unwired checks all the boxes. Unwired Broadband. Call 559-261-4444 or go to getunwired.com. Get Unwired.
The original KMJ, 580 AM, 105.9 FM, Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Rena Roy. The Justice Department's criminal investigations into former President Trump are being handed over to a special counsel. Attorney General Merrick Garland announced veteran federal prosecutor Jack Smith will head the probe into the classified documents recovered at Trump's Florida estate, as well as the investigation into efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election.
Based on recent developments, including the former president's announcement that he is a candidate for president in the next election, and the sitting president's stated intention to be a candidate as well, I have concluded that it is in the public interest to appoint a special counsel.
Smith most recently served as chief prosecutor for the special court in The Hague charged with investigating war crimes in Kosovo. In Bangkok, Vice President Kamala Harris and leaders at the Pacific Rim Summit held an emergency meeting on the sidelines after North Korea fired another missile overnight, and countries condemned the escalating threats. ABC's Maggie Ruley has more from the foreign desk.
Today's test shows progress in North Korea's missile development. According to South Korea, the missile traveled 620 miles before landing in waters just northwest of Japan. While airborne, there was even enough concern that an American airbase in northern Japan was told to seek cover.
A new twist in the tight race for Congress in Colorado.
Officially, the race between Republican Lauren Boebert and Democrat Adam Frisch for a big chunk of western Colorado is too close to call. Boebert ahead by only a few hundred votes. The race will automatically go to a recount. It's been a surprise it was so close in the typically very conservative area of Colorado. But Frisch says he's not interested in a long, drawn-out fight. He went on social media to say he is conceding and is ready for it to end. Alex Stone, ABC News.
A lake-effect snow warning remains in western New York. Nearly 3 feet have fallen so far. Buffalo could get up to 5 feet before the system moves through. This is ABC News.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
A call for federal oversight at Twitter.
A consent decree from 2011 mandated that Twitter report to the Federal Trade Commission and ensure the company clearly state how it maintains and protects the security, privacy, confidentiality, or integrity of any non-public consumer information. Now, in a letter, a group of Democratic senators are calling on the FTC to conduct vigorous oversight and enforcement of the decree. Citing the problematic rollout of Twitter Blue, the senators say new owner Elon Musk's actions have undermined the integrity and safety of the platform, implementing changes they say can be abused for fraud, scams, and dangerous impersonation. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Brittany Griner's legal team says the WNBA star has been transferred to a Russian penal colony. In a statement, her lawyers say she is doing as well as could be expected and trying to stay strong as she adapts to this new environment. Russia and the U.S. have discussed a prisoner swap to free Griner and another American prisoner, but no deal has been reached. Rena Roy, ABC News.
And out on the roadway on this Friday afternoon, northbound 41 at Jensen, there is a vehicle with a flat tire off the side of the road. It is causing a bit of a slowdown. Also, Cedar Avenue at East Lincoln got a report of an injury accident there. Exeter on State Route 198 at Spruce. A bunch of oranges all over the roadway, and it's very, very slippery. Next update, 217. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Bigger, so much better. He will beat every price. Nothing changes there. What? Right next to Fashion Furniture across from Lowe's. It can only be Lou Rodman's Patio, Barstool, and Amish Emporium, baby.
Now, the Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi. Philip Teresi. Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
205 News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Good afternoon and welcome to the Friday installment of your afternoon drive. Phone numbers here are 490-5858. Toll free. You can join us at 800-776-5858. On Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can follow the show at Drive KMJ, and you can watch us live on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch.tv, also at Drive KMJ. Joshua Weekly stands by. Your calls this afternoon. We got a busy show coming up. This hour, we are going to be talking with Dr. Haley Nelson. She's a complex care pediatrician at Valley Children's Healthcare. We are going to talk about this explosion of RSV. It's getting serious. It's getting scary. I want to ask her: is this now a greater cause for concern than the coronavirus? I'm also going to ask her about differentiating between RSV, COVID, and the flu, and if there's any difference in treating a mild case, if it's as simple as administer Tylenol, administer water, administer chicken soup, or if there's something different about these three infections that might require special attention. So Dr. Haley Nelson's with us later on this hour. Next hour, Megan Cullifer. She is the Golden One Credit Union Financial Education Specialist and one of the forces behind the Financial Wellness Challenge for Kids. You've heard about it popping up in classrooms around Central California, and we're going to talk about what it is and how you can bring this program to your kid's school. We'll also hear from Alex Stone with ABC News. There is a murder investigation underway in Idaho, and it's getting weird, and some of the details that are coming out are pretty scary, but we've got 4 college kids who were stabbed to death, other kids who were in the house at the time of the murders, and Alex will have the latest information as that investigation continues to unfold. We're going to start with this Southern California attempted murder case. The driver of an SUV, a 22-year-old man, is accused of plowing into 25 law enforcement recruits. The recruits were from a bunch of different agencies in Los Angeles County. He was going the wrong way down the road in a Honda CR-V. And based on the video and witness testimony, He deliberately swerved into this group of men and women who were out exercising. They were PTing. So the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department has confirmed that 22-year-old Nicholas Joseph Gutierrez is back on the street. He released from custody just before 10 o'clock last night. Now, again, he was arrested for the attempted murder of peace officers, and law enforcement says he may have been under the influence of marijuana when the crash occurred. Jail records are pointing to the law that requires police to release somebody from custody without being arraigned if they have insufficient grounds to move to an arraignment, to file a formal complaint. Investigators cannot legally hold a suspect for more than 48 hours without having presented a case to the district attorney. I'm very confused by this. We've got law enforcement saying that they believe that this was intentional. We've got witnesses offering testimony, not just testimony, video of what they say appears to be a deliberate act. While Gutierrez did not test positive for alcohol in his bloodstream, I can't imagine that a lab would take more than a day to turn around a blood test under these circumstances. The only thing that I can think of is that he refused the blood test. And I don't even know what the legality of that is. I know that if you refuse to do any kind of tox testing with an alcohol DUI, it's an automatic 30-day suspension of your driver's license. Just boom, that's a DMV rule. I do not know if he can be compelled under the law to submit to a blood draw. I think there's a Fourth and Fifth Amendment issues in play there. Los Angeles County Sheriff Alex Villanueva says that the investigation causes the authorities to believe the crash was intentional. The quote here, they did a thorough investigation. They interviewed dozens and dozens of witnesses and victims. This was the conclusion. In spite of this, the Sheriff's Department, which is working with California Highway Patrol, said that the extreme complexity of the investigation left authorities needing to get more evidence. Therefore, under the law, they had to release the 22-year-old. He's scheduled to appear in court on Friday. This 22-year-old idiot is scheduled, this 22-year-old alleged idiot, alleged attempted murderer, alleged weedhead, scheduled to appear in court. CHP says the collision was reported 6:25 a.m. Wednesday. The captain with the CHP says the driver was going southbound on Mills Avenue when he veered into opposite lanes and struck the victims. Gutierrez underwent a sobriety test at the scene. Sheriff Villanueva says he did pass a breathalyzer test and he suffered minor injuries. He was hospitalized for the injuries. His family, I don't think this would surprise anybody, told Fox 11 that he's a, quote, good kid who respects the law enforcement community because he comes from a law enforcement family. Thank God nobody was killed. 25 cadets were injured. 16 suffered minor injuries. 4 had moderate injuries. 5 are critically injured. Two of these people were hurt so bad, they had them airlifted. You're in the middle of L.A., and the car is still not quick enough. The ambulance is still not quick enough. I don't understand how it is that under the law this guy isn't being held. I am familiar with the rules that you can't just hold somebody indefinitely. It's unconstitutional. It's a violation of your civil rights and your human rights. I don't understand how the sheriff's office, how the California Highway Patrol, simply based on the number of injuries and the fact that he was operating the vehicle that caused them, that there couldn't be an assault charge, a battery charge, negligent operation, felonious negligent operation of a motor vehicle. I mean, there has to. I do not understand why this guy isn't sitting in a jail cell. It does not make sense to me. Now, this guy was released last night. KTLA showed up to his house, and normally I'm not a fan of the whole ambush journalism thing. In this case, I'm not too mad at him.
News now at 11. A wrong-way driver suspected of plowing into a group of recruits in Whittier has been released from jail. Good evening. I'm Micah Ullman.
And I'm Cher Calvin. Tonight, 22-year-old Nicholas Gutierrez no longer behind bars and is back home with his family, but the investigation is ongoing.
Mary Beth McDade is live in Diamond Bar, where Gutierrez arrived just a few moments ago. MB.
Yeah, Mike and Sherry, we received late word that Gutierrez had been released from jail because more time is needed to confirm the evidence to present to the district attorney's office. And then just moments ago, we were here as the man we believe to be Gutierrez and his family arrived here at the family's Diamond Bar home. And, we tried to get some answers out of them about the crash.
Security cameras capture 75 LA County Sheriff's recruits out for their Wednesday morning run. And then an SUV crosses to the wrong side of the road and plows into them. Hours later, the SUV's driver, 22-year-old Nicholas Gutierrez of Diamond Bar, was arrested for attempted murder on peace officers. However, sheriff's officials are now telling us that he was released tonight due to insufficient evidence.
Why did you run into the recruits? Can you tell us why you crossed over to the other lane and ran into the recruits? Can anyone give us a comment? A lot of people want answers.
That is, again, audio courtesy of KTLA. And like I said, normally I would not be a fan of ambush-type journalism, but in this case, I think Mary Beth McDade is absolutely in the right to be asking this guy the question point blank. I understand that there is a process that civilians don't really understand. That if you aren't a cop, if you aren't an attorney, if you aren't a prosecutor, you're probably not, there's pieces here that we aren't getting. And I'm assuming that there's good reason for this, that it's not some idiotic California thing where we're turning a guy loose after doing something like this because, well, golly, nobody died. We don't know that he was doing it on purpose. I'm just absolutely thunderstruck that they didn't keep this guy in jail while they continued to seek evidence. I'm also very curious if there were any conditions put on his release or if you're going to see law enforcement maintaining a quiet presence outside of that family home so that in the event this guy tries to run, which at 22 years old facing charges like this, I know the family says he's a good kid, but currently the evidence as is circulating in the public sphere don't look like it. More details to come. An arraignment on Friday. California Highway Patrol, Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, both continuing to gather evidence and build a case against this guy. I cannot fathom what was going through his head. The only thing that makes any sense to me at all is that he was high and he passed out. More to come. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Don't forget, coming up at the bottom of the hour, we've got Dr. Haley Nelson from Valley Children's Healthcare back here, and we're going to be talking with her about RSV hospital capacities. And if there is any distinction, if the distinction matters between RSV, the flu, and COVID, if your kid's not feeling well, it's all on the way on KMJ.
In Fresno on South Cedar at East Lincoln, we got an injury accident to report southbound Bryant Road and the on-ramp to southbound 41. Got a non-injury accident there. In Hanford on eastbound 198 at Houston, non-injury accident there. Next update is at 2:33. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Walgreens. Finding the right Medicare plan was no easy feat until I found Walgreens Find RX coverage. Compare plans online, over the phone, or in person, and find plans with low-cost copays. When you need to talk Medicare, Walgreens is here. Start shopping today at walgreens.com/Medicare.
Custom, handmade, quality furniture. Made to order and delivered in 6 to 8 weeks. Sounds good, right? This is Christina Musan. Does the name Palliser ring a bell? It's a 78-year-old family-owned business, and it's at the Design Studio by Furniture City. From sofas, sectionals, chairs, and ottomans to bedroom sets, Palliser has pieces for every room in your home. Customers are obsessed. Why? With more than 300 fabrics and top-grain leathers to choose from, and on hand at the Design Studio by Furniture City, you get to make every piece one of a kind. The mastery in this furniture can be seen and felt in every frame, fabric, feather, spring, and stitch. And Palliser only uses safe, sustainable materials, no dangerous chemicals whatsoever. Head to the Design Studio by Furniture City and ask to see Palliser. Did I mention it's delivered in 6 to 8 weeks? It's true. The Design Studio by Furniture City in the former Osh building at Blackstone and Barstow in Fresno and in Bakersfield and Modesto.
Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right. And when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender by Norton is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results, and we can help you too. Using cutting-edge approaches, Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. We also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. 800-401-6681. That's 800-401-6681.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1979. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
LampyDodge.com. Get into Lampy Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Visalia. Right now, you could save $9,684 on every new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab in stock and get 0% financing. You get $3,500 in rebates, $2,000 when you finance through Chrysler Capital, and the Lampy discount of $4,184 to save $9,684 off MSRP.
0% requires financing through Chrysler Capital, subject to credit approval. Not all applicants will qualify. Offers expire 11/30/22. Plus government fees and taxes, any finance charges, any dealer document processing charge, any electronic filing charge, and any emission testing charge.
Plus, you still get that Lampy lifetime limited warranty. The full details and current inventory is available right now at LampyDodge.com.
New vehicles arriving daily.
Your new Chrysler Dodge Jeep or Ram is practically in your backyard in Visalia. It's the Black Friday sales event at Lampy Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram just off the 198 across from the airport in Visalia.
LampyDodge.com.
When your business information is missing or inconsistent across the internet, search engines won't find you, and customers won't either. Help ensure customers see you and not your competitors. Boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
It's the afternoon drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Good afternoon. I'm Philip Teresi. Appreciate you being here. Phone's open for your calls at 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. And if you've got questions for complex care pediatrician Dr. Haley Nelson from Valley Children's Healthcare about RSV and getting through winter break, let us know. You can participate on social media too. At Drive KMJ. Couple of stories here as we get ready for our conversation with the doctor. And first of all, this is sad. A 2-month-old little girl, baby Laura from Sanger, is an RSV patient, and she's at Valley Children's Healthcare. She's at Valley Children's Hospital out in Madera. She is, they use the expression critically ill here. Her second cousin, Shelly, is acting as spokesperson for the family. And she tells our news partner, Fox 26 News, the nurses and doctors are worried. They keep doing x-rays of her chest every day to see if she's doing better. Cousin Shelly also said that the doctors have had to resuscitate baby Laura twice in the past week. She's on a ventilator. She's on life support. She's on a feed tube. Her family has pulled away from everything else in the world so they can be there with her. And the cousin has started a GoFundMe account. If you're interested in helping with that, I'll post the link up. You can find it on Facebook or Twitter at Drive KMJ. And right now, it's just to cover their bills so they can be at the hospital with this little girl. Shelly says the family's sad. They're full of hope this little girl's going to recover. That's terrifying. And to go from the micro and baby Laura, a little kid from Sanger, right now at Valley Children's Hospital. The Children's Hospital Association and the American Academy of Pediatrics have told the Biden administration that unprecedented levels of RSV combined with increasing influenza circulation are pushing some hospitals to the breaking point. They are asking that the federal government declare an emergency to provide hospitals with additional flexibility to meet the surge. And they're saying, in particular, infants 6 months and younger are getting hospitalized with RSV at 7 times the rate observed before the pandemic. They also say flu hospitalizations are a high for the decade, and children and elderly seniors are at the most risk. More than 3/4 of pediatric hospital beds across the country are occupied. This is data coming from Health and Human Services. 17 states are reporting that beds are now, 80% of beds are now full. D.C., Arizona, Minnesota, Maine, Kentucky, Utah, and Rhode Island are all almost completely at capacity. Now, what good would an emergency declaration from the administration do? It would give hospitals flexibility to free up bed capacity and staffing to make sure that the care is going where it's needed, which right now is to these kids. Children's Hospital Association CEO Mark Watecha and the American Academy of Pediatrics CEO Mark Del Monte both reached out to Biden this week. They're saying the president needs to declare an emergency under the Stafford Act or the National Emergencies Act. Now, look, I'm not trying to stir up panic here. I honest to God, I'm not. But this is serious. This is a big deal. And very little children and elderly seniors are having a very, very hard time. And we started talking about this months ago. Not RSV specifically, not hospital bed capacity specifically. But right about the time that the second booster came out for the Rona. It was also just about the same time that the latest iteration of the flu shot was made available. And there was this moment where the wiser heads in the healthcare community all put their hands up and said, yeah, think about it. Might be the smart thing to do. And unfortunately, because of, I think, primarily political concerns, a lot of people pushed back because you brought up the COVID vaccine, and therefore, it's not going to fly with folks who don't like the perceived government overreach there. I'm not advocating for government overreach. I'm not advocating for mandatory anything. I stand in an insulated room by myself for most of my workday. Even before I come into the studio to hang out with you guys, I'm at an office at home. The only people who see me are the Amazon delivery guy and my dogs. I still went and got them because I'm married to a high school teacher and I've got a kid in high school. And I'm not a high-risk person at either end of the spectrum. I'm 43 years old, and despite being a little overweight, I'm fortunate to enjoy pretty good health. I don't know if it turns into ashes in my mouth when we're talking about somebody like baby Laura, who's 2 months old, who's being resuscitated twice in a week. And I don't know if it makes any difference to the people who are they've just dug in against doing anything. But that's why we've got Dr. Nelson coming in. We're going to talk with her in just a minute. And we're going to find out what the situation is with RSV at Valley Children's Healthcare. We're going to talk about how to tell the difference between RSV, COVID, and the flu if you're trying to figure out whether you need to pack up your kid, go to the hospital, or just go pick up a few more cans of Progresso. Dr. Haley Nelson is on the way on the afternoon drive. It's News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Out the roadways in Madera right now on State Route 152 at Road 16. Looking like there's a collision there. At this point in time, don't know what the injury situation is like. Then at Hanford, eastbound 198 18th Avenue on the on-ramp, there is a non-injury accident. And then southbound 99, just north of the 198, got a report of a fire at that location. In Fresno, South Cedar at East Lincoln, there's an injury accident there. And southbound 41 at the Friant exit, there is a non-injury accident there as well. Next update, 247. I'm Greg Lee with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by SaveOurWater.com. A little mulch goes a long way. Mulch reduces evaporation and saves water. Use it especially around your plants and trees. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more water-saving tips. That's SaveOurWater.com. Let's all do our part. Save water, save California.
Buildings Unlimited will be celebrating 20 years serving Central California and the West Side. Buildings Unlimited, specializing in concrete tilt warehousing, cold storage, processing facilities, and commercial pre-engineered metal buildings. Buildings Unlimited is your single point of contact from design to the completion, proudly featuring new core steel, manufactured in the USA. Buildings Unlimited, where the only limit is your imagination. Call our experienced team for a free consultation at 559-485-9948 or visit us at buildingsunlimited.net.
Hard water problems? Ray Appleton here with a solution. It's LifeSource Water. You'll taste and feel the difference. Click LifeSourceWater.com, 559-449-8822.
Attention. Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-600-5536. That's 1-800-600-5536. 1-800-600-5536.
Unwrap the savings at the annual Black Friday sale at Bedrosian's. Now through Monday, November 28th. Buy more, save more on everything throughout the store at Bedrosian's. That includes the biggest selection of inventory in the Central Valley on porcelain, luxury vinyl wood planks, stone tile, and the new engineered wood flooring, plus the biggest selection of slabs that include granite, quartzite, quartz, marble, and porcelain. So buy more, save more this Black Friday sale at Bedrosian's in Fresno and Visalia.
Exclusions apply.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Temperatures getting low but demand remaining high? You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Join Hala Taha for actionable advice from the brightest minds in the world on the Young and Profiting Podcast. Author and academic Arthur Brooks on what success isn't.
The husband was confessing to his wife that he might as well be dead. And I'm thinking, whoa, what's wrong with this guy? I turn around to get a look, and it turns out to be one of the most famous men in the world. The world tells you that if you are profiting, money, power, pleasure, fame, you're going to be happy. And that's a bogus formula.
The Young and Profiting Podcast, wherever you listen.
Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now.
First, thank you very much for all you do, and thank you for personally inspiring me.
The Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
We are seeing RSV and influenza not only earlier than usual, but faster. And there is a higher spike according to what we have in terms of data and CDC's flu view. So as the weather gets colder and we potentially start to see influenza move from the hardest hitting states right now, especially in the southeastern part of the country, to other parts as well, we just have to be on guard.
That is Alok Patel. He is a physician with Stanford Children's Health, commenting for ABC News earlier today. Joining us now from Valley Children's Healthcare, complex care pediatrician, Dr. Haley Nelson. Welcome back to KMJ, Doctor.
Hi, thanks for having me today.
I appreciate you making time. I reached out to you because I saw some coverage about the American Association of Pediatrics and the Children's Hospital Associations reaching out to the Biden administration about declaring an emergency over RSV. And prior to this year, I don't remember hearing RSV put out there. I remember colds and flus up until 3 years ago. Is the RSV situation hitting home here in the Valley?
RSV is definitely hitting home here in the Valley as well as across the nation. So children's hospitals are seeing just unprecedented numbers of children coming in that are sick. And we're talking about RSV, but we're talking about the flu and COVID as well. And so those numbers are all going up at the same time, which is causing quite a problem with being able to kind of navigate healthcare.
Doctor, I know there's going to be people who say this can be dealt with at home like any other cold. Are you seeing people able to manage RSV at home, or is it turning into a capacity issue at Valley Children's?
So RSV can be managed at home for mild symptoms. And so understanding what what is good for what you can manage at home versus when you really need to come in and what a true emergency is. And so I think kind of clearing that up for families. And the emergency situations are if your child is having respiratory distress. So if you look at your baby and they are having a hard time breathing, that is something that is concerning. I tell parents all the time, to lift up that onesie, lift up their shirt and look at the ribs. And if you can count every single rib because it's sucking in between, or you see their belly moving really fast and their breathing is just off and you're worried about them, that's concerning. I want you to come in. If you look at your child and they're breathing comfortably and they've got a runny nose, okay, we can stay at home. We can keep you comfortable. Like you said, maybe some Progresso, maybe, get them some Gatorade, give them some fluids. But the breathing issue brings children into the hospital. hospital. And then the other thing that really causes a problem is that for some children, they get all stuffy and they can't take their bottles. So really the babies who then are so congested, they won't take that bottle and you're trying to feed them and they end up getting dehydrated. So if your child is having a hard time drinking and they're making less wet diapers, that's another time where you might end up needing to come into the hospital.
For a parent who has a kindergartner, a first grader who is currently experiencing the ever-present public school runny nose, is there an upper age at which you think that people can relax, or is RSV just across the spectrum a problem for everybody?
RSV can cause anyone to be infected, so you can get sick with it. It has to do more with the size of your airways. So we see it being more of a problem for the babies because their airways are smaller. So all of that snot and mucus, they don't have a lot of room to work with. And so that's why babies have a hard time. As you get bigger, your airways get bigger. You're still going to be sick, but it's going to look more like a cold and hopefully something, again, that can be managed at home.
I know that there's going to be distinctions between RSV, COVID, and the flu, but that whole your child needs to breathe thing, your kid needs to breathe thing feels like it's a pretty solid line in the sand. Is there a distinction between the three that is relevant to somebody who's trying to evaluate whether or not they should bring their kids, or is it ability to breathe and fever? If either are out of control, hop in the car and start moving.
So ability to breathe, for sure, I want you to get your child evaluated. Fever is not one that is necessarily an emergency across the board. So if your child has a fever and they are over the age of 6 months, you can give them ibuprofen. If they're over the age of 2 months, then, Tylenol. So we really can treat fevers at home for children. It's if that fever persists for more than 5 days, or if there's other symptoms going on along with the fever. This is where I really want families to call their friendly pediatrician. These are my in-basket is full right now. I am calling back families as fast as I can to try to answer these questions to hopefully give you that guidance and help you stay home unless you really do need the emergency room. So if it is an emergency, that is what they are there for. If you can navigate at home and your pediatrician can help you, that's what kind of my role is.
That is the voice of Dr. Haley Nelson. She's a complex care pediatrician with Valley Children's Healthcare. Doctor, are at this point, because we just came off of 2.5 years of COVID, at this point, is RSV the more present infection, or are you seeing COVID and RSV kind of taking up equal space?
RSV numbers are higher than COVID right now. Both are on the rise. And so what I'm looking at as a doctor is what illnesses can I prevent? And, you were mentioning about the flu shot and the COVID vaccine. Well, both of those vaccines do a really good job, not only of hopefully keeping you from getting sick, but they also decrease how sick you get if you still manage to get infected. What that means for kids as well as adults is that you don't require the hospital. So if you have had your flu shot and you get the flu, you may not feel good, but you manage at home. And the same thing we see with COVID. So the children who get hospitalized are those who haven't had those vaccines, which is why it's really important, again, to call your pediatrician and to be talking about, is my child up to date for all of their vaccines, but looking at this season and trying to protect them against viruses and illnesses that we can prevent.
A story that I've seen circulating, and for the folks who are a little bit further along the cynicism spectrum, I have seen some conversation about the COVID vaccine causing myocarditis, which is, as I understand it, is kind of an inflammation of the heart muscle. Is that something that is causing complications that require kids to be brought in? Is that an overreported story from the VAERS system? I'm up to date on my COVID booster, and I haven't had any trouble other than just not feeling awesome the next morning. Is that something that you're worried about with younger patients?
So I'm not worried about myocarditis anymore. When the story first came out and everyone was talking about it, sure, it turned heads. It looks like there is a testosterone component as well as puberty. So our adolescent boys were the ones that had some issues, and they came back and they made a recommendation that if you space out the dose for our teenage boys, you don't see myocarditis. So we actually changed our dosing time frame based on that. Now, why did we have the doses closer together? Because we were in the middle of a pandemic and trying to get people protected. So as we've moved along, we've updated our recommendations based on kind of the real-time information that we have, and we're not seeing myocarditis anymore. So that, thankfully, is kind of, again, has turned into old news for us, but certainly was a concern that we no longer have to worry about.
Now, the other thing is the combination of COVID vaccine, COVID booster, flu shot. I did my Omicron booster and my flu shot at the same time, and I had a rough weekend. I was taking Tylenol and staying on the couch, and I'm obviously alive to complain about it, so it worked out. But in your experience, especially with pediatric patients, is there some wisdom in do one week and do the other a week or two later? And is there an order in which you would prioritize them?
So I actually think they're safe to give at the same time. And right now, with the surge in all of our numbers, you want that protection for your child so that they don't get sick. Now, here's the nice part about kids is that they get a smaller dose of the booster or of the original COVID vaccine. So depending on where you're at in starting the series or getting your child boosted, it is a smaller dose. So for our little ones, it is 1/4 or 1/10 of the adult dose. So we don't see kids having that rough weekend laying on the couch. They may complain that their arms sore. They may be a little cranky, but honestly, I feel like they don't really skip a beat. And my own children, you know, there was an early bedtime at our house, which was nice as a parent. And by the next morning, they were full energy. So kids really do well with getting these vaccines. And then from the parent perspective, you can breathe a little easier knowing that you've got your child that protection so that hopefully they don't get sick.
One of the other things I wanted to ask you about is there is a report of a rise in overdosing on cough medicine, which seems to track with just the season in general, but certainly the extremity that we're seeing. I know there's dosing instructions on the bottles, and I know that there's also people who just fill the little cup up and go for it. If my child, especially a younger child, somebody who's at risk for some of this stuff in a bigger way than like a high school kid might be, if my kid's feeling unwell, is Robitussin, is Theraflu, is that the way to go, or is it Tylenol and fluids?
It's really, Tylenol, ibuprofen to treat the fevers and the aches, and lots of fluids. Pediatricians don't like cough and cold medicine for kids because of the overdoses and the fact that it doesn't actually help their symptoms. So why would I give something if it's not going to help? So really encouraging those fluids. Some children will drink warm things. Some kids like popsicles. So if they have a sore throat, giving your child a popsicle is a sneaky way that you can get some fluids in. So be creative with how you push the fluids to keep them hydrated, and then using our Tylenol and ibuprofen as you need to decrease kind of the achiness as well as the fevers.
I know you're right, and I have to admit I'm a little surprised because you walk into the supermarket and you've got an entire aisle of concoctions, half of which are targeted at children. But this really does come down to treat the aches, treat the fever, and then let them have something that makes them feel better. Give them a treat that soothes their throat somehow.
Exactly. I think a lot of that is marketing to parents who are feeling miserable right along with their children. It's no fun when your kid is sick. Unfortunately, you're not going to find the solution with any of those fancy products that they try to tell you might make them feel better. We know that it just takes time, and then also to know those warning symptoms of when you might need to go to the emergency room or when it's been going on long enough and you think there's something else that you really want to talk it over with your pediatrician.
Dr. Nelson, I always appreciate your wisdom and your time. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that we should get out there?
No, I think just really reiterating the fact to families that regardless of what virus you're concerned your child has, whatever is going on, that the reasons to come to the emergency room stay the same. So I know we're talking about flu and RSV and COVID, but if your child is having respiratory distress and difficulty breathing, or you're worried about them being dehydrated, those are going to be the two that send you in. For everything else, please call your pediatrician.
Dr. Nelson, as always, I appreciate the time. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
That is Dr. Haley Nelson. She is a complex care pediatrician with Valley Children's Healthcare and holy smokes, a source of a lot of wisdom as we've made our way through the pandemic. And now as this RSV situation continues to put children, small children, into the hospital. Very much appreciate that. If you missed any part of the conversation, we will have that online in the podcast section at kmjnow.com a little bit later on this afternoon. Don't forget, coming up after the top of the hour, we've also got Megan Colfer. She's with Golden One Credit Union. She's a financial education specialist. And as long as we're talking about kids, we're going to talk about financial wellness education for children. That's on the way after 3. I'm Philip Teresi. This is KMJ. Thanks for hanging out.
Lots going on this Friday afternoon, and in Parlier on East Manning at South Riverbend, a 9-injury accident is being reported. In Hanford on eastbound 198 18th Avenue, got a 9-injury accident there. And then Chowchilla westbound 152 at northbound 99, a collision being reported there. And southbound Friant Road in Fresno, the on-ramp to southbound 41, a semi versus a vehicle. It's a 9-injury accident. And our next update is at 3:03. I'm Greg Lee with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Halloween is over, but hiring is still scary. Indeed's end-to-end solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates. Sponsor a job and instantly receive a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Some people prefer Canon, Nikon, Sony, or Lumix. Or, well, no matter what type of camera you're into, this weekend get to Horn Photo for the huge Cash for Cameras event where you can trade in, trade up, or get cash for your old camera gear. We have early Black Friday deals on cameras and lenses. This Thursday through Saturday, sell us your old camera gear for cash or trade it in and get an additional 10% more. Cash for Cameras at Horn Photo. Got the picture?
I'm Chris Walls, and I'm a truck driver from Missouri. For 13 hours a night, I sit in my truck and I drive. Out of boredom, I'll stop and eat. If I'm not doing fast food, I guarantee there's a bag of chips open on my dashboard. Along with that, I'm good for about 4 liters of soda a night. That was all until Andro 400. I started out 4 months ago weighing 341 pounds, and since taking Andro 400, I have dropped 45 pounds. I'm sleeping better. There's no cravings. My knee pains went away. I've had some lower back issues, and I've noticed that went away, and I can only contribute that to Andro 400. One thing that Andro 400 said on the radio ad says it attacks belly fat. Well, let me tell you, it did. I've lost 6 inches. This product really does work.
So guys, if you'd like to experience similar results, then get Andro 400, the safe, natural, and inexpensive way to boost your testosterone. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435.
Yeah, we're replacing the carpets too, so don't worry about that.
No fresh powder yet, but Dan's Ski Lodge has an avalanche of projects.
Those 4 rooms are getting hot tubs.
He needs a staff engineer to navigate a flurry of new requests.
And all of those will be fully ADA accessible.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
O'Reilly. See better and drive safer with Rain-X Advantage wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, purchase a pair of Rain-X Advantage wiper blades and get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate, plus 2 times O Rewards points. Our professional parts people will even install your new wiper blades for free. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-777-1979. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-777-1979. That's 800-777-1979. For $1 million term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This has been a test of the emergency alert system. Had this been an actual emergency, official instructions would have followed the tones you just heard. This concludes the test of the emergency alert system.
Real, honest conversation. News Talk 580, 1059, KMJ.
Rolling up on 3 o'clock at News Talk 580, 1059, KMJ. Updated headlines on the way with Jim Miller in just a couple of minutes. Quick one here. A facility described as the world's largest floating wind farm produced its first power last weekend. And they have more turbines set to come online before the year is out. In a statement at the beginning of the week, Norwegian energy firm Equinor said that power production from the Hywind Tampen's first wind turbine actually took place last Sunday afternoon. Equinor's vice president for projects, drilling, brace yourselves, and procurement, Geir Tungvik, said, "I am proud that we have now started production at Hywind Tampen, Norway's first and the world's largest floating wind farm." And what is it that Norway is powering? With world largest floating wind farm, you ask? Their oil and gas fields in the North Sea. They are using renewable energy to power fossil fuel extraction. I actually think that this is a fantastic idea. They're going to get 7 different turbines online over the remainder of this year. There's a handful more that'll come online at the beginning of 2023. The system will have a capacity of 88 megawatts. And it is expected to meet over a third of the Gulfax and Schnorr fields' electricity demand. Equinor, says this is going to cut CO2 emissions from those fields by about 200,000 tons per year. CNBC makes the observation that the use of a floating wind farm to power the production of fossil fuels is likely to spark some controversy. And it shouldn't. It should be seen as one of the most obvious and natural routes to exploring, enhancing, and expanding renewable and clean energy. I've said it a million times. I want fresh air. I want clean water. I want to get to a point where we have energy independence, true energy independence. We are not done with fossil fuels yet. And reducing the cost in terms of carbon and pollution of making fossil fuels work for us It's a great way to experiment, to learn, and to ultimately expand those programs because the cost savings on this for them, once it's online, is going to be astronomical. All right. Jim Miller's on the way with an update of headlines from the KMJ newsroom. After that, we're back with Megan Kulfer. She is the financial education specialist over at Golden One Credit Union. We're going to talk about the Financial Wellness Challenge for Kids. It's already popping up in classrooms around the valley. I think it's a great idea, and I'm looking forward to finding out more about the program and more about how to get it into my kids' classroom. Stick around. It's all on the way on KMJ.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at kmjnow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
You've given chocolates, you've given wine, so why not give a totally unique gift this year? Give the gift of award-winning Bari olive oil this Christmas. Extra virgin olive oil, flavor-infused oils, gourmet foods, gift baskets. There's tons to choose from at Bari's Gift Shop. Bari Olive Oil Company's gift shop and tasting room is open Monday through Friday, 9 till 4:30. Find them online at barioliveoil.com or call 595-9260 for more info.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold. We're the highest-rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own physical gold and silver. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Throughout your journey, you have taken care of yourself and don't expect to stop now. Stay on top of your healthcare needs and let Sante Physicians be your guide. If you're eligible, open enrollment is now available and only takes a few moments to sign up. Sante Physicians is here for your Medicare needs with more resources and locations than any other network in the Valley. Your doctor is here to provide you with the highest quality care, and you can act now by calling 559-234-1393. Sante Physicians, the best doctors, the best choice.
When I do a so-called endorsement, I use the product. I use the service. Stone cold fact. I'm a believer. One of the biggest successes ever was my run with the Noble Truck Accessory Center. Oh, the response was massive, and they're back. This place is Toy Town for truck owners, I'm telling you. And in California, we love our trucks. And whatever it may be for your truck, the Noble Truck Accessory Center will have it. One standalone unbeatable product is anything from Truck Cover USA. A truck cover can improve gas mileage 7 to 10%. Oh yeah, totally weather resistant with the smoothest retractable action. What year is your truck? Pick one, and you'll find a truck cover from Truck Cover USA. And they look so good. There is not a company in California that can touch the Noble Truck Accessory Center. No way. Whether it's products from Truck Cover USA or, yeah, you fill in the blank. It's there at the Noble Truck Accessory Center on Blackstone or Sunnyside. Here it is, babe. You got a truck? You need Noble. And the sooner the better.
Celebrating a century of broadcasting. News Talk 580 AM, 105.9 FM. KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station.
It's 3 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. Law enforcement officials looking for a car involved in a hit and run on State Route 137 near Souths Drive in Tulare. CHP says a pedestrian hit by a car yesterday. Authorities said the vehicle left the scene was a maroon or dark-colored sedan. Fresno police officials say they need help identifying 2 suspects involved in placing a card skimmer device at a store. The department released video footage yesterday showing 2 men wearing construction vests. Police say they found the device at a 7-Eleven on Ashland and Marks last Thursday. The skimmer device used to steal credit card information. The governor uses a visit to Napa County to officially end the state's fire season and praise ongoing prevention efforts.
California's peak fire season is over, according to Governor Newsom. He spoke in Napa County, highlighting CAL FIRE's work to make sure the state was prepared this fall. Newsom says a combination of major state investments, cooperative weather, and the actions of firefighting personnel resulted in a significantly less severe wildfire season.
This year, we have actually exceeded last year in the total number of fire starts, but we have only experienced about 362,000 acres that have burned.
CAL FIRE has completed more than 20,000 acres of prevention and mitigation projects like prescribed burns in the last 2 months alone.
Fresno Mayor Jerry Dyer said he's heading to Sacramento to make sure his city receives the right amount of funding for homelessness efforts. Governor Newsom said he paused the funding because city is not making enough progress. Fresno was supposed to receive $7.5 million, but only received $1.5 million so far. Officials say the money will go towards Project Home Key. Just days before Thanksgiving, the president expressed some hope that you may find food prices coming down while meeting with business and labor leaders at the White House today. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers has the latest.
President Biden said there are signs that inflation's coming down, but said his administration is still working to give Americans what he calls more breathing room.
Gas prices are down, but it's going to take time to get inflation back to normal levels as we keep our job market strong so we could see setbacks along the way. I don't doubt that, but thus far we're in good shape. But we're laser focused on that.
The president said on January 1st, Americans will start to feel the effects of the Inflation Reduction Act he signed earlier this year. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Temperatures holding steady across the Central Valley. Low 60s for your afternoon highs as we head into the weekend. Staying chilly overnights with lows in the mid to upper 30s. Otherwise, sunny all weekend with some occasional haziness and calm wind. Expect these type of conditions all the way into Thanksgiving next week. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
In Chowchilla right now, westbound 152 at northbound I-5, got a collision just coming in. In Parlier, East Manning at South Riverbend, they're looking at a non-injury accident there. Another one in Goshen on Road 260 at Avenue 328. And Hanford on eastbound 198 18th Avenue, another non-injury accident there. Next update, 317 with Greg Lane of KMJ Traffic.
I'm going to try to do everything by myself today, which should be fine.
Philip Teresi right now.
As long as everybody does what they're supposed to do.
Philip Teresi.
No.
Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
3:05 on your afternoon drive. News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Worldwide, you can listen to KMJNow.com with your smart speakers. And if you miss any part of the show, of course, you can always get the podcast, KMJNow.com, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you like to listen. Just search for KMJ's Afternoon Drive. Joining me in the studio now, she is the Community and Financial Education Specialist with Golden One Credit Union. Megan Colfer's here, and we're going to talk about this financial wellness challenge that Skip and I discovered back in October. There was some reporting on you guys coming out to Central East High School, where my wife had taught for about 10 years. And I was really excited about the program. Megan, thank you for being here this afternoon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
The first thing that I think of, and I think a lot of talk radio listeners think of when they think about financial wellness, is usually Dave Ramsey's baby steps. The get $1,000 emergency fund put away, organize your debt from largest to smallest, and then start that snowball payoff, and so on. When you're talking to kids, especially high school kids, do those baby steps, as we know them, fit, or is there a different program that you want to impress upon kids who have not yet done things like accumulate debt?
We want to start by giving our youth the necessary steps to avoid some of those errors out the gate, right? We want to try to avoid excess debt, try to avoid that credit card accumulation. And a lot of that comes down with structuring a budget based on their income. And that's why this challenge is such a great event for our youth, because they're able to play around with the idea of saving and spending and creating that budget that really fits their lifestyle.
What was the original motivation to this? Was this a board of directors at Golden One. Was this your baby that you brought to them and said, I think this is a great way to get to the community?
Well, since day one, Golden One's members and the communities we serve have been at the heart of our organization. And as a dynamic and trusted leader, Golden One is committed to enhancing the financial well-being of Californians and their diverse communities. So we started launching various financial well-being programs in order to appeal to our youth. And we found that a lot of youth and our younger generation, even adults, were looking for something that was more of a simulation or something that was engaging in a way that we could learn these life skills and these lessons without having real life consequences.
So this isn't just a YouTube video and a worksheet. You're helping these kids build a budget the way that I would with, here's my income, here's my output, here's my investments, debts, and so on. Tell me a little bit about what the classroom experience is like when you go out and you go to Central High School or you go to Clovis High School and you get these kids started. What are they going to experience?
Well, students first, they receive a mock identity. And part of this inner identity, they receive a certain profession and a lifestyle and income. And then throughout the event, our facilitators and our community volunteers engage the participants at various stores where we're going to sell them childcare and housing, transportation, food, and other necessities, while also tempting them with some luxury purposes, really testing out if they are really purchasing needs or wants out at the challenge. And then by the end of the session, what participants have made is those hard choices to make their budgets work for their lifestyle.
How many kids at the other end of this go, oh, wow, I got to go to college? Because you've got somebody who's a construction worker who's making $65,000 a year, and you've got somebody who's a psychiatrist who's making 3 times that. I mean, are the kids getting to have those conversations too?
They are, because this is such a collaborative event. The mock identities, if you will, they really run the gamut. We've got everyone from stock clerk workers to truck drivers to pharmacists. We have quite a few mock identities. And when students are wandering around the room, they're talking to each other about their expenses, about their income, and where they started. So some of our trade school workers, for example, aren't going to have that higher educational costs versus somebody that's a pharmacist might have a lot of higher educational costs and is having to work that cost into their budget.
Is the most often repeated phrase, it's not fair?
We hear that one a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that what the challenge does is it brings out a lot of aha moments for our youth. They see what the value of an education is. They see that there is different incomes out there to have. And like I said, now that they're getting to practice this and they're learning these life skills and these life lessons, it then helps them make other decisions in their financial life as well as their career paths.
Well, I would think that it would, and I don't know how, I'm assuming you guys don't get too gritty with it, because I'm thinking about the assigned identities. I kind of went with like construction worker and psychiatrist. But then I think about something, and I know this is not something that Golden One would ever present in a classroom to children, but, part-time employed disc jockey making $25,000 a year with 3 child support payments to 4 different women and court costs, which unfortunately is a thing in radio. But I'm sure that you've got some way that you have arrived at a formula that imposes similar stress and similar thought. Do you think that kids walk out of this not just knowing, okay, I've got to balance a checkbook, I've got to be thoughtful about income and outflow, but do you see kids kind of having a light bulb go on saying, oh, maybe I don't want to have to buy diapers when I'm 19?
Oh, and that's the most common one, right? That's the most common one. They're realizing fairly quickly that kids are expensive, that housing is expensive, that electronics are expensive, and we really got to watch our budget with those electronics to pay for other things like, food and clothing.
So when you were constructing this, was there a point at which you and the folks from Golden One went out and did a little audit to make sure, okay, this is actually the cost of an iPod. Okay, so you can get like the jail commissary headphones for $3, or you can get the AirPod Pro for $600 a pair. I know that I've got a 15-year-old, and my kid is pretty observant, pretty sophisticated about what things cost. Not always what that translates to in terms of value, but my kid knows that the AirPods Pro cost $500. Do you guys go out and make sure that you're giving them a real representation of what it's going to cost to have both the amenities and the luxuries and the necessities?
Absolutely. We obviously did a lot of research before we rolled this out, and we definitely took a look at incomes, cost of living, and such. And we rolled this out in 2019 is when we rolled out the Financial Wellness Challenge. And we are looking and starting to plan right now to roll out, the Challenge 2.0, because inflation and cost of living is real. And we realize that, some of these numbers from 2019 might not be accurate anymore. So we are definitely continually researching and upgrading.
The first thing that I thought of was the cost of rent. From 2018 to today, I mean, my heart breaks for somebody who didn't have a lease as we were coming off the other end of the pandemic. And that's another thing I think, especially with high school kids, is you have these major stories in the news. We had the coronavirus. Now RSV has become this very, very big thing in terms of like healthcare issues. The economy was, I think it was conversation number one going into the election earlier this month. Do you try to integrate those elements in how you plan this out, or is that starting to get kind of too nebulous for a 15-year-old?
It's getting a little nebulous at that point, but we do definitely try to practice various things at the various stations. So, for example, housing, right? Not all housing is available. Have you tried to find a house or rent right now, an apartment? So we might, in the middle of the challenge, announce to the group of kids, oh, sorry, there's no more apartments available right now. You could check back later, right? Or they might make some purchases, and they might make a purchase of a small home and realize halfway through the event they can't afford it.
Wow.
And they come back to that station and say, okay, well, I can't afford this. I need a studio apartment instead. And we might tell them, oh, sorry, the market's really tough right now. We can't sell your house.
And then you start to hear, hey, that's not fair.
Yeah.
When you walk into these classrooms, what's the biggest challenge that you get from these kids? Is there anything they push back on? Is there anything they just don't believe?
I don't really see a lot of pushback. I really see a lot of eyes opening wide and a lot of them realizing, oh my gosh, even the cost of these things that I'm seeing are lower than what they are right now, because they're observant, especially, the tech world. They're looking at the cost of that phone and they go, oh, I know that phone costs more. So I can't imagine if I had to do this budget off of today's prices with inflation.
We're talking to Megan Culliford with Golden One Credit Union. She's a financial education specialist and one of the folks behind the Financial Wellness Challenge for Kids. How many schools now are on board with the Financial Wellness Challenge? I know you went out to Central High East. Are you getting, is there a buildup? Is there a pickup now that we're kind of on the other side of the COVID thing?
Absolutely. We're starting to book out. If you are interested in the challenge, please email us at financialwellness@goldenone.com to book out that challenge. We're definitely building up momentum. Just had a challenge here on Wednesday night with Primetime Teen in Sacramento, doing a challenge with a Ceres High School on Monday. So we definitely have quite a few high schools on board, and they keep coming, which is great. The more the merrier.
All right, Megan, we're going to take a quick break here. If you have any questions for Megan about the Golden One Credit Union Financial Wellness Challenge, we're going to have a few minutes on the other side. You can jump on the phone right now, 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. It's the afternoon drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
In Fresno, southbound 99 at Ventura, got a report of a fire on the side of the roadway. In Hanford, on eastbound 198 18th Avenue on the on-ramp, got a non-injury accident there. And in Goshen, Road 60 at Avenue 328, non-injury accident there as well. Next update, is at 333. Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Southern California Edison. Southern California Edison. When wildfire risk is high, SCE may call a public safety power shutoff to help keep our communities safe. Safety is their top priority. Learn more at sce.com/wildfire.
This is Christina Mousson. There is nothing more classic than black and white. Audrey Hepburn wore a little black dress with white pearls in Breakfast at Tiffany's, and Dalmatians were the envy of Cruella de Vil. Why do we love it so much? Because it's timeless and versatile. It goes with anything. And the Silhouette collection by Bernhardt, in its black and white glory, is as timeless as it gets. This is why I love the Design Studio by Furniture City. They don't want you to buy pieces for a day. They want you to buy pieces for a lifetime. And Bernhardt is the Rolls-Royce of furniture lines. It's made in America, and it's in stock right now for you to take home today. No waiting. You can pick it up or take advantage of their white glove delivery and setup. The Silhouette collection covers everything from the bedroom to the dining room, living room, workspace, and more. So stop by the Design Studio by Furniture City at the corner of Blackstone and Barstow in Fresno, in the former Osh building.
Clean and healthy water is essential. To live your best life, get a LifeSource whole house water system. LifeSource removes bad stuff like chlorine and keeps the good stuff like healthy minerals. You'll look and feel your best with softer skin and hair. Love your water, love your life. And a LifeSource system is maintenance-free. They install it, you forget it. For a free consultation, call 559-330-1850 or visit LifeSourcewater.com. That's 559-330-1850. Tap into your best life. LifeSource. Taste and feel the difference.
Amanda Nugent-Devine, licensed marriage and family therapist, CEO of Kingsview. We are made for relationships. I don't mean just romantic relationships. I mean relationships with family and friends as well. The longest-running study on happiness is the Harvard Study of Adult Development, now overseen by current director Robert Waldinger. Investigators surveyed the group every 2 years, looking at multiple aspects of their lives, their choices, their friendships, their work, their marriages, and their physical and mental health. They expected to find that power and wealth and success would be big contributors to happiness. But what they actually found were that quality relationships were the biggest contributors to happiness. Good marriages, quality friendships, or strong family connections keep us healthy and happy more than anything else. And they also found that loneliness makes us unhappy and unhealthy and can literally kill us. Good relationships are that critical to our mental and physical well-being. The Mental Health Minute with Amanda Nugent-Devine is sponsored by Kingsview.
Hi, I'm Christy Robinson, and I'm a second-generation pistachio grower in Fresno County. Here's a shocking fact. Did you know 1 serving of pistachios has as much protein as an egg? Or just 2 ounces of pistachios have more protein than 6 medium-sized shrimp? So if you're looking for more plant-based protein in your diet, think about pistachios. They're a complete protein, they're delicious, grown right here in California by farmers like me.
Learn more from American pistachio growers at americanpistachios.org.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1979. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
Join Hala Taha for actionable advice from the brightest minds in the world on the Young and Profiting Podcast. Author and academic Arthur Brooks on what success isn't.
The husband was confessing to his wife that he might as well be dead. And I'm thinking, whoa, what's wrong with this guy? I turn around to get a look, and it turns out to be one of the most famous men in the world. The world tells you that if you are profiting, money, power, pleasure, fame, you're going to be happy. And that's a bogus formula.
The Young and Profiting Podcast, wherever you listen.
Rolling through the 3 o'clock hour at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Philip Teresi, glad to have you along. Alex Stone from ABC News going to join us right at the bottom of the hour. This story out of Idaho, 4 college kids murdered in a house that was apparently full of folks who may have heard what was going on. It's creepy, it's heartbreaking, and more information is coming out, it seems like, every couple of hours. So Alex Stone's on the way here just about 10 minutes from now on the afternoon drive. Right now, I'm talking to Megan Colfert. She is the Golden One Credit Union Financial Education Specialist, one of the folks behind the Financial Wellness Challenge for Kids, something that we saw back in October. You were out at Central High East Campus, and that was what really caught my eye. And I love that you guys are out doing this, and I love that the kids are getting something other than a YouTube video and a worksheet. I'd asked you before if that's not fair is the most common reaction to dealing with money in real world terms. What's a trend that you have seen with kids, whether it's the boys or the girls? I know boys are sometimes a little less mature. Have you had somebody walk up and say, I want to trade this baby in because it's expensive and I'd rather have a nice car?
See it. Absolutely. We see it all the time. Right? Students often go through this simulation going, I don't think I ever want kids, right? Because they're seeing the cost of diapers, of formula, of strollers and beds, and they're just going, wow, this cost is unreal. It's unreal. And so it's eye-opening, even daycare, right? When they're having to make that choice between a nanny, a daycare center, or an at-home daycare. They're realizing that difference and having to make hard choices. Is one of those parents, is their spouse going to have to stay home with the child because they can't afford that daycare?
So if there's a parent out there, a teacher out there who's hearing this and thinking, I need this for my kid or my kids, they can email you. And guys, I'm going to post the link so you'll be able to find Megan's contact information. But as far as getting Golden One Credit Union's financial wellness education program in the door, is there a cost to schools, and will you guys work with another community organization if a church wanted to do it, if a social club wanted to do it?
Absolutely. So Golden One accepts applications from high schools, colleges, and nonprofits who want to participate in the challenge or other workshops, other financial literacy workshops that we have. It's free to apply and free to join. Interested organizations can send an email to financialwellness@goldenone.com.
Okay, easy enough. And, teaching kids, and hopefully those lessons stick. And I think with a lot of kids, it sticks better than we realize. And yet there's going to be people who need a refresher, or there's going to be people like me. My folks were great. We never talked about money. Not once. My grandparents were, as it turns out, fairly comfortable. We never had a single conversation about money. At 43 years old, I think I'm okay now. I think I've got it figured out. But most of my adult life, it was flying by the ATM receipt and keeping my fingers crossed as we counted down the last 3 days of the pay period. Is there something for adults who want to get in on this?
Absolutely. And I think it's interesting that you say that, because a lot of the volunteers that help with the challenge, they all say the same thing. Gosh, I wish we had this when we were growing up. So we realize that, the challenge isn't for everybody. So we do have a suite of other offerings. We do have a financial wellness center at goldenone.com. It offers learning lab modules, podcasts, and webcasts that you can access, and various resources to help teach Californians about personal finance.
What have you found is the biggest surprise for the adults? I mean, with kids, diapers, the actual cost of rent, all of that probably is a little bit of a eye-opener. But for a 30-year-old guy who is realizing, hey, I've got enough here, I could do more, what's the light bulb moment for that person?
I think a lot of it comes down to being honest about yourself and really taking a look at your budget, looking at where your money's being allocated, and looking at it line by line and figuring out, man, am I really going through that, coffee shop drive-through that much? Could I be using that money to, pay down my debt or start building up an emergency savings account? Because we all know those bumps in the road happen, right? And we need to have those things in place. That way we're not having to go charge things on a credit card and pay interest on those things.
This may or may not come from my own personal experience. When somebody sits down and they go through that budget and they start analyzing things, how many times have you heard somebody go, oh my God, I'm paying what for how many TV services?
Yeah, we see it a lot, right? And a lot of it, like I said, it just takes observance. It takes looking at each line item, because we're not going to save by, getting rid of one particular thing. We might have to cut back on a couple things to save that dollar amount. $1 here, $5 here, it all adds up.
Every penny counts, and it doesn't seem like a lot when it's $5 here, it's $5 there, but $5 here, $5 there can turn into $1,000 a year real quick. So again, Megan, I'm going to share the link out for the folks who didn't catch the email address, but once again, if folks want to reach out to you directly, that is the best way to get the financial wellness into a school, to get it into a nonprofit, or to get involved with any of the programs for folks who might be a little bit further down the road, correct?
Correct.
All right. I really appreciate you coming in today. I'm looking forward to hearing about this turning up in more schools. And if there's an opportunity to help folks learn about this, I am all on board. I think what you guys are doing is fantastic.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
All right, that's Megan Collifer. She is the financial education specialist from Golden One Credit Union, part of the Financial Wellness Challenge for Kids. We'll have the links up for you to check out in a couple of minutes on social media. We're actually going to go to news just a minute early here because we've got super limited time with Alex Stone from ABC News, and that is a big, big story. So early news, early traffic, and Alex Stone is next on the afternoon drive on KMJ. Here we go, Jim.
KMJ News now.
It's 3:30 in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. An 18-year-old is under arrest for the shooting death of a 9-month-old in Merced. Devon Mashwati is alleged to have shot that infant in a drive-by shooting in broad daylight November the 9th. The baby being walked in a stroller by his mother and a male friend when the shooting happened. Merced police say Mashwati is a known gang member. He was arrested Thursday in Gilroy. It's about 90 miles from Merced. Gas prices in Fresno area decreasing. AAA reports the average cost for a gallon of regular gas in Fresno is at $5.23. That's 3 cents less than yesterday, 9 cents less than last week. The average price of gas in Madera is $5.15. That's 6 cents less than yesterday, 12 cents less than last week's average. Tight race for Congress in Colorado coming to an end before it's really over, as we hear from ABC's Alex Stone.
Officially, the race between Republican Lauren Boebert and Democrat Adam Frisch for a big chunk of western Colorado is too close to call. Boebert ahead by only a few hundred votes. The race will automatically go to a recount. It's been a surprise it was so close in the typically very conservative area of Colorado. But Frisch says he's not interested in a long, drawn-out fight. He went on social media to say he is conceding and is ready for it to end.
I just got off the phone with Representative Boebert. I called her to formally concede this election.
Boebert has been well known in Congress for her many photos with guns and pushback against COVID rules. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Temperatures holding steady across the Central Valley. Low 60s for your afternoon highs as we head into the weekend. Staying chilly overnights with lows in the mid to upper 30s. Otherwise, sunny all weekend with some occasional haziness and calm wind. Expect these type of conditions all the way into Thanksgiving next week. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Couple of things real quick on the roadways. Fresno, North Clovis Avenue at East Ashland. We got a hazard being reported there. And then Goshen on Road 68th Avenue 328. Non-injury accident there. Next update, 347. Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Roto-Rooter. The day after Thanksgiving is the busiest day of the year for plumbers. So this Thanksgiving, don't let your family throw your leftovers down the drain. Happy Thanksgiving from Roto-Rooter. Call 1-800-GET-ROTO for a free home inspection or visit online at rotorooterca.com.
Owning your own RV or camper makes you ready to hit the open road anytime. Best RV Center in Turlock has the largest RV, motorhomes, toy haulers, tent trailers, fifth wheels, and more in California. Now through December 4th, Best RV Center in Turlock is having their huge 2022 clearance sale. All 2022s must go. Major discounts. Best RV Center with the lowest prices in California. 2022 clearance sale now through December 4th. All must go. Call 209-216-5200. 209-216-5200. 200.
Hey, boss, our stupid steam cleaner's busted again.
Well, have you tried calling A&E?
I didn't buy it from A&E.
Doesn't matter. A&E can get it fixed, no matter where you got it from.
Good to know. And hey, in that case, what about my little pressure washer at home? Think they'll fix that up?
The little thing you got at the box store that you use on your patio? No, they don't do that. They specialize in industrial, commercial pressure washers, the big stuff that gets work done.
Yeah, kind of figured that. You know, my steam cleaner's kind of old and in pretty bad shape. I'm not sure it's really worth fixing.
Just let them know. They'll actually come to you and give it a look. If it's worth saving, they'll fix it up. If not, they have some specials going on right now, and they're packed with new inventory, so you won't have to wait.
A&E Pressure Washers on the 99 between North and Cedar, just south of Kuchenbecker Tractor. Look for the big blue sign. For water recycling systems, steam cleaners, and of course, pressure washers, give A&E a call at 275-3891 or visit aefresno.com.
Sometimes the grass really is greener when you live on the green. Hi, I'm Gary McDonald, and our highly anticipated gated community at Clubview is finally here. Located along the first hole of the beautiful Copper River Country Club, these lots have some of the best views of the course and iconic clubhouse, with new plans and elevations to fit your lifestyle. You can be near it all, but far from ordinary.
Visit our website or call Brian Hurdle at 559-307-1761 for more information. Gary McDonald Homes, California Contractors License number 847905.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Shop the Black Friday sale for the gift of better sleep. You'll get a king bed for a queen price and save up to $700 on select mattresses from top brands. Plus, they'll add a free adjustable base with qualifying purchase. Shop in stores or at mattressfirm.com.
Teresi, streaming live on Alexa, Google Home, and everything else. Philip Teresi on KMJ.
3:33 on your afternoon drive. Thanks again to Megan Cullifer from Golden One Credit Union for stopping by to talk about the financial wellness program for kids. If you want to learn more about that, get the podcast at kmjnow.com. Right now, shifting gears in a major way, Alex Stone from ABC News joins me to talk about this bizarre, horrifying story out of Idaho. Alex, welcome back, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a weird story, and it gets weirder by the day. So this is the four University of Idaho students who were stabbed to death on early Sunday morning, and a couple of new tidbits today. So we've got sources who say that the two roommates that we know about now who were at home during the murders are not the ones who called 911. We knew that 911 was called 8 hours after the murders. It was assumed it was probably the two people who were there who survived, but it wasn't them. They were uninvolved in this, it appears. Police won't say who called 911, what role the roommates played in all of this, and the police telling us this today.
What we have to determine in the course of the investigation and interviewing these two is if they heard something, if they saw something, what they heard, what they saw, and that would potentially make them witnesses.
Aaron Snell there with Idaho State Police. How do you not hear four people being stabbed to death? Were they hiding? Were they passed out after a night of drinking? We know they'd all been out at bars and parties. Unclear. The roommates could be the key, though, to cracking this thing, police say. Family member of one of the roommates telling us that she is traumatized and working with the FBI. So it is all so bizarre, and one more, police telling us that everybody's a suspect.
No one has been ruled included or excluded as a person of interest and or a suspect. Everyone is still being investigated.
Police are going to stores in Idaho. They're asking if anybody bought a Rambo-style tactical knife recently, not uncommon for people to have in western Idaho, but may have been involved in this. So many students have left the University of Idaho now, either freaked out because there's a killer on the loose, or now later in the week because of Thanksgiving break, that investigators say they're going to have to go and travel to interview students who have now left. And Abigail Spencer, student, she says campus like a ghost town. Everybody's freaked out.
I think a lot of people are afraid, and I'm definitely nervous. There's still a suspect at large. There's still so much we don't know about the case.
So forensic teams, they went back to the home yesterday looking for anything that they might have missed. Today, police have been flying a drone over the home trying to map it out. The autopsy showed that they were stabbed numerous times. The coroner saying not necessarily any defensive wounds, although the father of one of the victims said that he was told by the coroner, saw in the report, that his daughter did have defensive wounds. But the mystery keeps going. They say they have no idea on a suspect.
Alex, are the kids who were in the house at the time being cooperative, or have they retained counsel and retreated from law enforcement?
No, they have been totally cooperative, we're told by police, and that their families say that they're talking to the FBI. But police, when we've asked, so what role did they play? Where were they in all of this? Police say that is their story to tell, and not the police department's story to tell. There have been issues from the beginning with police not really being forthcoming in the tiny town in Idaho, where even the police chief said he should have come out earlier. This is another example of that, where this is a key part of explaining and creating and preventing panic on that campus for people to understand how this unfolded, and police are saying, not our story to tell, that at some point those young women can tell it.
At the risk of sounding like I'm asking a question for the sake of salaciousness, have the police discussed the condition of the crime scene? Was there an apparent attempt to rob? Was there additional vandalism? Have they said anything along those lines?
No, we know it was very bloody. It was an extremely bloody crime scene. Sounds like we know they were stabbed numerous times, possibly in their beds. But still, you have that question of how do you stab one person without others waking up, let alone four, and the remaining two roommates don't call 911 for 8 hours, or somebody calls 911 8 hours later, and all of that we still don't know.
Is there any anticipation of a larger agency, state police, FBI, coming in and taking this over, or at this point have the Moscow police effectively established their place in the investigation?
It is their case, but the FBI and Idaho State Police are now assisting. They brought in their crime labs and their evidence technicians and investigators, so they're helping out. It still belongs to Moscow Police, but the others are helping out. The other thing is, we talked to what they call a threat assessment psychologist, Dr. Marissa Randazzo, and she says, based on the facts of this that she has put together for many police departments, the scenarios to help them find a killer, and she says she believes that this is a single killer, typically with knives it would be, and maybe one who was romantically interested in one of the victims. Seems very personal. She told us this.
It is highly likely that there was only one killer. I believe it is also very likely they were targeting one of the individuals, possibly two, but that they've encountered two others at the same time. We typically don't see knife attacks, stabbings that are carried out by multiple people. This is typically going to be one person. It's always a possibility, but likelihood that it's just one we're talking about.
So was it somebody who was infatuated with one of these young women or young man? Was it that they were angry, that they felt wronged in some way? But she believes, and police have said this as well, they believe it was very targeted and very personal, but for what, they don't know.
Alex, I know you've got a heart out here, and I appreciate the time. I can't say I look forward to hearing more, but I appreciate it, and we'll anticipate more great reporting as we learn more.
Absolutely. You got it. Have a great weekend.
You as well. Alex Stone, everybody, ABC News correspondent, on the latest from Idaho, where 4 college students were stabbed, possibly, allegedly, in their sleep. Details from law enforcement still fairly thin at this point. The prosecuting attorney for Latah County told ABC News that the authorities do have more information on the nature and the location of the wounds than they're releasing publicly. And he said that the police are not releasing some of the details of the crime because there is some information that only the suspect would know. They did, however, acknowledge the murder weapon was not left at the scene of the crime. The specific type of knife is not being described, although authorities talking to local businesses may be tipping their hand as they talk about, you heard Alex use the expression, Rambo-style field knife or a fixed blade knife. It's a complex and in-depth investigation, and as we get into winter break, the fact that kids are leaving prematurely is just going to make it all the more difficult for law enforcement to chase these kids around the country to get their statements and their testimony. To speculate for a minute, and it is pure speculation, the brutality and the suddenness of the attacks would have to have been extremely high for 4 people I'm assuming spread it through at least 2 different rooms, if not 3 or 4 different rooms, to have been killed like this without alerting other people in the house. Now, the folks that were in the house are cooperating, and I think that Alex made a point that it's unclear. They may have been passed out from drinking. I mean, we're talking about college kids here. I can't pretend that when I was 22 years old, I never got that drunk. And yet, the noise level, the just somebody fighting back, just not wanting to die, you would think that it would have roused somebody. Investigators say it's not unusual to not have a suspect or a motive at this point, and that this case, according to the chief of police, the chief prosecutor, this has brought more resources and manpower into town than he has seen in 3 decades serving that community. 2 of the victims had been best friends since childhood. One sister, Olivia Goncalves, telling ABC News that her sister and Miss Mogan had been best friends since childhood. She said they did everything together. And again, the authorities say they do not believe there is a threat to the community. Former FBI agent Brad Garrett, ABC News contributor, says he thinks that the roommates are going to be key to the investigation, but he doesn't think they're suspects. So there's a guess there that they know something. Right now, it appears, according to Garrett, that police are stymied just based on their own comments. But he says it's a small town. The likelihood that they knew who was in the house is reasonable. You've got to do a complete detail of the party that was prior to whatever was going on before 3 and 4 a.m. Did somebody follow them home? Has somebody been stalking somebody? Is there anybody who's had issues with other folks in the house? Brad Garrett says the killer did not all of a sudden show up. He knew this house. And again, you've got authorities saying that it is highly unusual that a crime of this sort would be conducted by multiple people, that this is very likely a single individual. And I don't, again, I don't want to spin this off as some kind of salacious nonsense, but the first thing that goes through my mind when I hear that is, what about Tate LaBianca? And I know that was an extremely unusual case, and yet it's the first thing that pops to my mind. I don't know why my mistrust level is so high, but right now when I hear the authorities say, oh, no, it's definitely not this thing that it might be, I immediately knee-jerk over to, well, maybe it's the thing. 490-5858, John checking in with some speculation of his own here. Welcome to KMJ, sir.
Thank you. I'm a betting man that the other 2 roommates had something to do with it, but I'm also wondering, when you make a 911 call, whether it be a burner phone or something, there's evidence of where that phone call came from. And I think the police know where that call came from. They're just trying to figure out how the roommates were involved. But I would be willing to bet the roommates have some way or another being involved. That would be my speculation.
And I don't think that your speculation is wildly out of line here. One of the problems that I think is these victims were stabbed to death several hours before 911 was called. They were gone. If I remember right, I heard something about 8 hours having elapsed between the suspected time of death of approximately 3:30 a.m. and when that 911 call came in to local authorities.
Yeah, but if you pay attention to some of these crime stories that are on TV, sometimes when these people do these crimes, it takes them 8 hours to figure out their story and get it straight, but where did the 911 call come from? That's my question. They should know that. But it just seems too obvious here.
John, you make a very good point that the authorities definitely need to examine who initiated that call. I cannot disagree with you. There's just a lot of unknowns at this point. It's a heartbreaking story for all four of those families. And it's going to be the talk of the table, possibly through the holidays, depending upon how long it takes to wrap up the investigation. The piece that I keep going back to is I hope that they find a way to access these kids' phones. I hope they find a way to log in and start checking their messages, checking their emails, and checking their social media. Because if there was a stalker, if there was a spurned lover, if there was an ongoing threat, it does not seem unreasonable in the year 2022 that you're going to find it in a direct messaging app rather than in a call log or snail mail. More to come, and thank you again to Alex Stone from ABC News for helping us out with that. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
Alrighty, in Fresno right now, eastbound 180 at Academy, got an animal hazard being reported there. Goshen on Road 60th Avenue 328, cleaning up and almost ready to call it a day at Road 60 at 328 from an earlier injury accident. In Porterville Avenue 88 at Road 64, they're dealing with an injury accident at that location. Our next update is at 4:03. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by the California DMV. Did you know that many DMV tasks, like renewing your registration or changing your address, can be done online when it's convenient for you? Check them off your to-do list without a trip to the DMV. Get started today at dmv.ca.gov/online.
The story of the nurse and the foot pain that nearly brought him down.
I feel like I'm giving people their lives back.
Robert lived to take care of his patients, but he couldn't do it unless he took care of his foot pain.
I have plantar fasciitis. It'll almost put you on your knees. That's how much it hurts.
His own recovery started when he got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now that I'm pain-free, I can make these people feel better.
Can't beat that. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Step into your Good Feet store in Fresno, Merced, and Visalia.
Hi, I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Ben. Choosing the best mattress can be difficult, but one company has made it easy: Clovis Mattress. We've created a simple lineup of mattresses to suit all budgets and, more importantly, all sleeping styles.
But the best part is, all our mattresses are made right here in the Central Valley. We still use traditional techniques and the finest materials, but now every mattress we sell directly benefits the local community.
But that's not the only difference. At Clovis Mattress, we are open by appointment only. Why? Because we want every customer to get the royal treatment, so we can guide you through our amazing collection with no hard sell, no distractions, just the right information to help you find your perfect mattress.
So call Clovis Mattress today, 559-500-2222, or visit clovismattress.com. Again, that's clovismattress.com to book your appointment and secure free delivery from now until January 2023.
Buy local, support local at Clovis Mattress.
Did you know there's a conservative advocacy and benefits organization with over 2 million members and counting? It's AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. Hi, this is Mary Walter. Here are 3 reasons why you should consider joining AMAC right now. First, AMAC saves you money, from discounts on travel and lodging, cell phones and plans, access to insurance products, and more. Joining AMAC is a powerful tool against inflation. Second, with a bi-monthly magazine, daily website content, podcasts with America's thought leaders, and an app that delivers insightful coverage of the issues that matter most. AMAC is a trusted source of information. And third, the reason that people say is their favorite is that AMAC fights for your conservative values on Capitol Hill. With more than 2 million members, AMAC is a voice that cannot be ignored, working tirelessly to preserve the freedoms secured by our Constitution. Go to amac.us/liberty and join today. That's amac.us/liberty. amac.us/liberty.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-600-5536. That's 1-800-600-5536. 1-800-600-5536.
If you run a small business, you need the most from every investment. That's why Comcast Business gives you more. Like more innovation with our new gig speed Wi-Fi, plus unlimited data. More speed from the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. And more savings. Up to 60% a year with Comcast Business Mobile. All from the company that powers more businesses than any other provider. When you need more, you need Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security for just $49.99 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Plus, ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card with a qualifying bundle. Offer ends 12/5/2022. Restrictions apply. EcoBill and AutoPay required. New 50 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Mobile Savings compares pricing of top 3 carriers.
KMJ. Radio, streaming, social, smart speakers, on demand, online, anytime. You're always connected with KMJ. KMJ.
Following up on 4 o'clock on your afternoon drive at News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Phones open for your calls, 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. Just a couple of minutes here before we get to news with Jim Miller. And next hour, on the heels of this FTX thing, I wanted to get the guys from getanubit.com in here to talk a little bit about FTX, but also to talk about what they're doing and what they're doing differently. If you didn't know it, we got a local group who has built a really, really cool crypto product. And if you're interested in digital currency, don't freak out. Although that FTX story is man, that's wild. But LaSherica Thornton over at the Bee had a story for EdLab. A Fresno teacher is being accused of using inappropriate language during a conversation with students, specifically dropping the N-bomb. Fresno Unified spokesperson Nikki Henry confirmed that the district was aware of the incident, but of course wasn't able to comment because of personnel issues. The teacher's identity at this point has not been released, and it's not clear what the district is doing to address the issue, but according to a message sent to families by the Tioga Middle School principal, the incident took place on November 8th. There was a classroom discussion about using racial epithets. The teacher repeated back a version of the N-word using an M instead of an N. Principal called it inappropriate language. No kidding, sir. He also said, no matter the context, we do not condone the use of the N-word or a word sounding very similar meant to replace the N-word by our staff while at work. There is a deep and painful history with this word, and we know it can be triggering and traumatizing for some people to hear. The schools contacted the district's HR department. They're addressing the issue. I cannot imagine being in a classroom with any age of student and referring to that as anything other than the N-word and shutting it down immediately. Nope, not okay. I'm interested to learn more about the conversation. What was the nature of the discussion that it was thought that it could be appropriate, even modified with a letter M? Strange choices. All right. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. If you're interested in learning about a group that's doing crypto here in Fresno, we're going to get the guys from getanubit.com in the studio to talk about both their product and what in the world is going on with FTX and whether it signals crypto winter. Stick around. I'm Philip Teresi. You're listening to KMJ.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at kmjnow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Amazon Music or Stitcher.
Some people prefer Canon, Nikon, Sony, or Lumix, or, well, no matter what type of camera you're into. This weekend, get to Horn Photo for the huge Cash for Cameras event, where you can trade in, trade up, or get cash for your old camera gear. We have early Black Friday deals on cameras and lenses. This Thursday through Saturday, sell us your old camera gear for cash or trade it in and get an additional 10% more. Cash for Cameras at Horn Photo. Got the picture?
Okay, I'll count down and then you jump.
Got it.
Let me just grab your parachute.
Some accidents are your fault. For injuries that are not, contact the award-winning personal injury attorneys at Injured.com. Their tailored approach will find the best strategy for your case and situation. They will build a powerhouse legal team around your case that will relentlessly pursue justice and maximum financial compensation for you.
Gotcha. Thanks.
You'll always land safely with the experienced attorneys at Injured.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-777-1979. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-777-1979. That's 800-777-1979. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
For Thanksgiving, Save Mart has delicious, complete meals that serve 6 to 8 people. Just buy online, pick up in store, or order at the deli counter. And right now, when you spend $50 or more, 12 to 20-pound Jenny O fresh turkeys are 99 cents a pound, and Jenny O or Honeysuckle White Whole frozen turkeys are 55 cents a pound. Limit 1 restrictions apply. Cooked spiral sliced hickory half hams are $2.49 a pound, and clementines are $3.49 in 3-pound bags. Eat, drink, and save at Save Mart.
Concrete blocks are being used to cover electrical access panels to prevent copper thieves from robbing you blind. Check them out online at bestconcreteblocks.com.
KMJ. This is the Valley's election headquarters. News Talk 580 AM, 105.9 FM, KMJ Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
It's 4 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller. Here's what's happening on your Friday. A 40-year-old man is dead after crashing his car into a cement canal structure. He was driving east on Ashland when his vehicle veered off the road late Thursday night. He was taken to Community Regional Medical Center where he later died. Police have not released the man's name. They're still investigating the cause of that crash. Twitter employees in the Bay Area now locked out of company offices until Monday as more staffers resign, and we get the details from KGO reporter Tim Johns.
Twitter's new owner, Elon Musk, fired about half the company's workforce just a few weeks ago, and since then, things have gotten even more tumultuous. In an email obtained by ABC News, Musk gave employees until 2 p.m. to commit to working, quote, extremely hardcore, or also be laid off from the company. Now, according to several sources, many of the Twitter employees who got this email did actually decide to resign, including several who work on targeting misinformation and hate speech. Perception seems to be the company is in chaos. Twitter has not responded for comments, but Elon Musk has been tweeting throughout the evening, including ones to say that usage had hit an all-time high.
Parents are angry over a Tioga middle school teacher who allegedly used a version of the N-word in class. Parents told the principal, Kevin Evangelinos, the teacher and the students were discussing the use of the racial slur. The teacher's identity was not released. The incident is not the first issue reported at Fresno Unified Schools. The Northern California ACLU called the district a hostile environment for black students during a 2019 school board meeting. The repeated Russian strikes on Ukraine's power grid are causing widespread blackouts for millions as winter starts to bite. More from ABC's Tom Rivers, who's at the foreign desk.
Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko admits it's tough already.
We have right now deficit in electricity, and that's why different districts in our hometown right now switch off for some period of time.
He says around half of the people in the capital are experiencing temporary rolling power cuts at any one time. The plan is to use some diesel generators on a limited basis if things grow even more bleak in the coming weeks. Tom Rivers, ABC News at the Foreign Desk.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Temperatures holding steady across the Central Valley. Low 60s for your afternoon highs as we head into the weekend. Staying chilly overnights with lows in the mid to upper 30s. Otherwise, sunny all weekend with some occasional haziness and calm wind. Expect these type of conditions all the way into Thanksgiving next week. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
Thank you, Jim. In Madera on northbound 99 at Avenue 18 and a half, we're looking at a non-injury accident just coming in. Porterville on Avenue 88 at Road 264, we got an injury accident there. And Goshen on Road 68 Avenue 328. The roadway is pretty much cleared up. They have just a couple of personnel still on the scene. Next update, 417. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino. Teresi tackles Fresno and California issues every day. Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
It's 4:04 on your afternoon drive. News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Find us on social media at Drive KMJ or watch the program YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch.tv also at Drive KMJ. Phones will be open for calls here a little bit later. 490-5858, 800-776-5858. And by the way, Saturday, God almighty, they've got a good lineup. Auto Shop Talk, live 7 to 9 a.m. At 10 a.m. on the Christopher Gabriel program, CG's got AJ from AJ in the Morning over on Y101 to talk about what he has seen evolving in music radio after the past 20 years. And then starting at 11, 2 hours with Lisa and Joe Basil. They're celebrating their 100th episode on KMJ. And then they're going to jump on with Mark Capitan for the Mark Capitan Show at noon. Don't forget Joe and Lisa Basil, sponsored by German Auto and Fresno Tire. 1 o'clock, Mike and Dave, the restaurateurs, are going to be joined by Nick Marzliano from Sam's Italian Deli, who, by the way, dropped off a tray yesterday. That was nice. And at 2 o'clock, the Week in Review, which features Congressman Tom McClintock's thoughts on former President Donald Trump. But we've been hearing a lot about FTX. This is a crypto exchange that has been having I think to put it delicately, a bad time. And I wanted to talk to some folks with some expertise in the field. And it just so happens that the guys that I've been working with over at Anubit are willing to sit down and talk about what in the world's going on, both with what they're trying to do, what they are doing, and with this massive news story about a guy who was on Forbes billionaires list, but is now being prosecuted by authorities all over the world. Trying something a little different here. We've got the guys from Anubit in the studio. And you've heard me talking about getanubit.com. This is a local crypto a digital currency that is just getting up and running after a tremendous amount of work in the background to make sure that it's built right and to make sure that it serves businesses in particular really, really well. And guys, I want you to just go around, introduce yourselves, what you do at the company.
My name is Robert Morris. I'm a design architect of all of our systems.
I'm Lawrence Thompson. I'm the lead engineer and designer of the Anubit.
My name is Theo Flores, and I am the day-by-day operations and financial guy.
There has been buzz around crypto and NFTs and digital currency and blockchain technology. You've got this coin that you're calling Anubit. What was the motivation to build your own coin in a field that's got everything from the original progenitors to Dogecoin floating around?
It was a field where we felt it could use a lot of improvement. We didn't necessarily like a lot of the players in the industry, but we saw that it's in its infancy right now and it has nothing but growth potential. And we have a way of developing where we saw a niche in decentralized finance because most of it was congregating around centralized, and that doesn't really give holders protection. It doesn't. It's just, in our opinion, it wasn't the safe way to go. So we started right away building our coin and tools from the ground up as more from a decentralized standpoint, which means that only users are in control of their coin, no third party is.
Now that's an interesting piece of this, because I think that when a lot of people hear about crypto, they also hear about these exchanges. They hear about these online digital wallets. It is the easy way for somebody to jump right in, convert cash into Bitcoin or whatever it is that they happen to be looking for. And you specifically went against that. So if I buy a Anubit, it's living on my device. It's not sitting out there in a Coinbase account, so when somebody figures out my mom's maiden name, they can run off with that money. The other piece of this, we're watching the FTX meltdown. That's scary to somebody who doesn't understand what the distinction is, one, between online and offline, but also that FTX isn't all of cryptocurrency. It's one little slice of the pie. It's significant, it's important, but for somebody who's looking at a Anubit, saw the news about FTX and said, oh, maybe I'll go buy bonds. What happened at FTX and how are you guys avoiding that?
FTX was a symptom of the problem, and there's going to be more of it. The root of the problem is ultimately lack of proper regulation, and I mean proper because you can regulate in a way that things are. Innovation is diminished, and innovation is important. That's part of our DNA. We obviously need some regulation in the industry, but there's going to be more to fall, and they create a space as these bad actors kind of collapse and disappear. There's short-term pain, but they create a space for good actors to kind of emerge in the industry, and we believe the future is decentralized, which sounds kind of anti-government or it sounds negative. It's actually just a really sophisticated way of saying that where people are in control of their coin and their assets, where control is reserved to the individual and not to a centralized entity that may do terrible things with. They may loan it out to people. They may borrow against it. We don't think you should have to have trust in the entity. You should trust yourself, and your assets should belong to you. There's a phrase that we like to repeat is, not your keys, not your coin, or some people say not your crypto. And it's just really a way of saying that only you should have the keys to what is your wealth, basically locked up in a digital asset.
I try to analogize this stuff just to make sure I'm understanding correctly. I guess the way that I'm visualizing this is you've got two neighbors. One has put their retirement into Lehman Brothers, and the other one has put their retirement into a safe in their basement. And that seems to be, unless I'm mistaken, that seems to be the distinction is by having this offline, by putting it onto your devices, onto your network, you don't have the risk that FTX or Lehman Brothers is going to leave you standing there with a worthless account. It's sitting in your basement, or it's sitting on your phone or on your computer.
Generally speaking, the more risk you have in certain things, the more potential and upsides. That transcends crypto. That basic concept. Certainly if you throw all your money underneath your mattress, it's only going to lose, 8-9% per year at this rate, where we're at right now. But there's no upside. It's not working for you. It never has a potential. All you're doing is, and there's nothing wrong with that, you're taking your money out of playing in the economy and generating gains potentially, but you're also mitigating your potential risk for losses. And there's times when that's the more prudent thing to do. And for a lot of people sitting on the sidelines right now watching, the news when it comes to crypto, they're thinking just that, or they're looking at other things that are more secure. We look at the industry right now as this is, it's a bear market. They're calling crypto winter. Some people, go, kind of, clickbaity, and they say it's, the extinction, and crypto's not going anywhere. It's like the internet. It's like, cell phones versus landlines. The technology is actually getting adopted. I know that the New York Federal Reserve just started a pilot program where they worked really hard not to call it blockchain technology, but they're launching their own blockchain.
Every effort to try not to call it blockchain technology, but it's blockchain. It quacks like a duck.
It flows like a duck. But so the technology isn't going anywhere. What you're going to see is the bad actors wash out, which is long-term going to be healthy. And it makes room, like the MySpace has to go away to make room for a Facebook, a Yahoo, and an AOL. They kind of have to be diminished and go away to make room for a Google to emerge, which becomes the verb where everyone's Googling things.
Yeah.
Blockchain technology is here to stay. You're going to see people that were doing bad business make room. If you go back to what we were saying when we first decided to enter the sector, we entered on the day that Terra Luna collapsed.
Yeah.
And we were saying, this is horrible, but it's going to be a healthy thing because they shouldn't make it to the next bull market. It's better to sort them out now during the bear, and smart companies right now are building during the bear, and everyone wants the same thing. All right, when is it going to hit the bottom? Because that's when I want to buy, because that's when I have the huge, the biggest chance for gains on the upside swing. So everyone's kind of guessing where the bottom is.
And there is no guessing the bottom. I mean, to take it back to just the good old-fashioned stock market, you cannot predict the bottom. Warren Buffett made a lot of purchases right after Enron did what they did.
Very smart people have miscalculated that, yes.
This coin's rolling out. There are people adopting it. You guys are making sales and getting new customers and folks who are interested. The focus when we were talking about it is, one, folks who want to invest. Two, it's a way to process transactions and get around legacy banks and their credit card processing fees and that kind of thing. In terms of adoption, and I know we're talking about that bear market, so I know that it's not going to be as snappy as it would have been 24 months ago. Are you seeing an interest from businesses when you start talking about processing fees that are a third, a quarter, a fifth of what they're getting from Amex and Visa and Discover Card?
Oh, the reception's been immense. Demand is there for we call it our ecosystem. Fundamentally, taking a step back from that is every cryptocurrency or coin out there, we believe, has to have a purpose. I don't think things should exist just for the sake of existing. They have to solve a problem we have. They have to answer to make our lives better in some way. And a lot of cryptos out there, they don't do that basic fundamental.
They serve no purpose.
Yeah, they serve no purpose. And so we designed Anubit with a real purpose, and part of that is replacing traditional finance in ways that it's either not serving vendors, not serving customers, and where it's either too costly, too slow, not flexible enough.
You're not going to buy a hot dog with a Bitcoin.
No.
It's impossible.
And even for some of the it becomes kind of expensive for like a taco truck to accept transactions. They're taking huge gouges of 5%, and that's a lot of their profit margin. So we thought we could come in with a way to doing that. And we thought about doing it off blockchain, but blockchain is such a secure way to do a transaction where you've got, just by the nature of the technology, I don't want to go into details about it, but it's a very secure way to actually to do that transaction. It's very transparent. It's done right. It doesn't have to be centralized. We're doing it decentralized now, quick, cheap, and literally just a fraction of traditional finance.
All right, we're talking with Rob, Theo, and Lawrence from getanubit.com, and a little bit more to come on this. We're going to get into that FTX collapse because it's a big story, and it has bearing on a group here in Fresno that's trying to really make something cool work out. If you want to know more about it, you can find them online, getanubit.com, G-E-T, getanubit, A-N-U-B-I-T.com. It's the Afternoon Drive on KMJ. Thank you guys for hanging out.
In Fresno right now on eastbound 180 north of Clovis Avenue, we have an unknown hazard in the roadway, and it looks like at this point, from a picture I saw, it looks like there may be a vehicle with a blown-out tire, but it's really hard to see from the camera. Eastbound 198 at Lover's Lane on the on-ramp there in Visalia got a non-injury accident as well. Next update is happening at 4:33. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
If you run a small business, you need the most from every investment. That's why Comcast Business gives you more. Like more innovation with our new gig speed Wi-Fi, plus unlimited data. More speed from the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. And more savings, up to 60% a year with Comcast Business Mobile. All from the company that powers more businesses than any other provider. When you need more, you need Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security for just $49.99 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Plus, ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card with a qualifying bundle. Offer ends 12/5/2022. Restrictions apply. EcoBill and AutoPay required. New 50 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Mobile Savings compares pricing of top 3 carriers.
If you're tired of outrageous gas prices, like many, you're probably considering the switch to an electric vehicle. Charging your EV with solar ensures that your driving is both cost-efficient and sustainable. Our pros at Solar Negotiators are not only your solar experts. We can also install a rapid EV charging station quickly and easily, allowing you to charge 2 to 3 times faster than a standard wall outlet. For your new rapid charging station, choose Solar Negotiators, powered by Solar Maintenance Pros, your lifetime energy partner.
Since he was little, you've always been there for him. You're the cool uncle, the one who taught him how to grass dance, the one who was there when he caught his first fish. And while your health may have slowed you down a bit, it hasn't stopped you from being there for him, and neither should COVID. Getting your updated COVID vaccine protects you against the original virus and the Omicron variant, so you can continue to be there for him.
We can do this. Find updated COVID vaccines for everyone 5 and over at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Anywhere fans go to cheer on their team, there are behind-the-scenes MVPs ensuring everything is game day ready. We see you, Joe, fixing seats so every fan can enjoy every game. And Allie, who keeps her stadium running smoothly from the moment the first game starts to the last play of the season. At Grainger, you're our MVPs, and we're always here for you with supplies and solutions for every industry and 24/7 customer support. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
Family farms are up against so much. So everywhere they turn, they're getting hit.
So there are changes coming from the utility that ties in with net energy metering. The sense of urgency is certainly driven by that change coming from NEM 2 to NEM 3.
What's going to happen is when NEM 3 comes, is they're going to limit your credits back when you're producing power.
You know, they're moving the goalposts. The utilities are changing the rules of the game.
Solar is the best savings now.
If you haven't gone solar for your farming operation or commercial business, the time really is now.
Rates are going up more and more. We've already seen almost a 40% rate increase in the last 10 years.
Being locally owned and in the market for as long as we have, that creates a sense of trust and long-term support.
Here at Pickett Solar, 90+% of our business is ag. We have great relationships we've developed, and we've earned the trust of many families throughout the valley that feel confident in referring us to their friends and other family members.
With Pickett Solar, we provide a way for our clients to save money and gain energy independence.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Rolling through hour number 3 of your afternoon drive on a Friday afternoon at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. The guys from Anubit talking about what they're trying to do, what they have built, and how it's different from this FTX nightmare that has eaten up so much of the news cycle. People talking about crypto winter or the end of Bitcoin, and this is most definitely not that. And there's still a lot to unpack. If you want to learn more, check them out online. GetAnubit.com, GetAnubit.com. Rob, Theo, and Lawrence hanging out in the KMJ studio with me this afternoon. You talk about being able to do it quick, and that seems to be one of the big headaches going back to Bitcoin. In order to process a transaction, if you didn't have enough processing activity online at a given time, there was a lag there. It wasn't like swiping a Visa card, and it could be a real headache. In the distributed model that you guys are using, have you overcome that, or is there still potential for, again, nobody's buying hot dogs with Bitcoin. But if I want to buy my kids' school books, is this going to process efficiently enough that it's going to transact the way I would have with plastic or cash?
Yeah,
100%.
Currently, with what we have right now, we're actually faster than credit cards.
Okay.
Yeah, we're faster, we're cheaper.
Yeah,
I mean, it is all we lack right now is they come in with this huge installed base of equipment, customers, education, how to use things. Even people, we have short memories, right? The switching from swiping on cards to putting your card in, there was people that were stumped for a couple, for a good year there. We're like, oh, what do we do? Where do we put this thing? And then people catch on. So there's this kind of like movement that has to happen to transition to. And you see that now with people get used to paying with that have never done Apple Pay and things
Venmo,
like that.
Apple Pay. The younger crowds a lot more comfortable with using the technology. And they would pick up this technology 5 minutes time, where someone my age it's going to be a lot more difficult to pick it up. So the easy, we're trying to make it easy.
Yeah.
Even for us.
So we're basically taking the tap to pay where you use your phone fundamentally to conduct the transaction or the transfer from crypto from the paying party to the receiving one to the merchant. And we're using a technology that I was kind of blown away that took off a couple years ago. I naysayed on it because Omar on a development, he's like, man, QR codes are something, they're just fantastic. You put so much information. Yeah. I didn't see the pandemic coming. And so I was like, no, we don't need that QR code. That stuff, that tech is that's over in Asia and China. The US market, US customers aren't going to use QR codes. No way. And the pandemic hit. And what the pandemic did for us is in a sense kind of wonderful in that it taught people how to use QR codes.
I see grandma and grandpa go to the restaurant now, sit down and pull out their phone and scan a QR code. I mean, like, oh, wait a minute. I never thought I'd see that.
So we're building our system. We love QR codes are great technology where you can transmit a lot of data, including a payment. So when securing like a digital handshake, you can encode in a flash. You can change the information that QR code has to be only that transaction. They scan, the systems do a digital handshake, and that's what purely signals to do the transfer between customer to merchant with ours. And we have, as of right now, we have the only decentralized finance token and systems behind it that allow that transaction to happen from two decentralized wallets, unlike you see a lot of people swiping, like, even FTX had like a Visa card or a MasterCard, or I don't know which one it was, but people would swipe that. Well, that's all based on a centralized structure, whereas our systems are completely decentralized. They're in it's going from one secure wallet to another secure wallet where only those two parties have the keys. We don't ever have the keys, yet we're able to facilitate that. and that's very unique.
There's nothing like it.
To that, again, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on blockchain as technology because it's such a massive thing to understand. In my layperson's reading of blockchain, speaking very generally, one of the security features and one of the big selling points is centralized or decentralized. You have these public ledgers that show all of these transactions, all of this cash movement. And of course, when you're dealing with an account number that's a 75-digit string of characters, that doesn't necessarily translate to, oh, that's Philip Teresi's wallet. But you can see that account number, blah, blah, blah.
Philip, that's 42 characters.
But you can audit that ledger in the blockchain in facilitating that. You and I decide that we're going to trade baseball cards and the difference is $10. So I tap my phone to your phone to make that transaction. We're able to move that money privately and securely, but it's still going and attaching to that broader ledger that tells a new bit as a entity, hey, wallet A, wallet B did business and moved this amount of value.
Yeah, our transactions on the blockchain are completely transparent to anyone who knows how to use a digital online tool called a blockchain explorer. And there's people that have like primitive blockchains. There's, some of the big companies, the big dogs all have visual ones where they kind of show like, family trees of wallets and where all the funneling of currency. At the end of the day, though, a lot of the exchanges, the way they work is money sometimes goes into individual accounts, but more often than not, they'll do coin in and out of just a pool of accounts. So when you see coin going in or leaving those pools, you don't necessarily know which is yours. You're just like, okay, they're just moving money. I know there's one the other day that accidentally out of one of the pools, they sent $400 million worth of coin to one of their competitors. Who then sent it right back, which you could see the whole thing on the blockchain. You're like, who got fired that day?
Oh my God.
For almost $500 million sent from one wallet to the other, and then an oopsie, and then you see it go within the hour, like right back, and you're like, oh my gosh. Which tells you it's really some of these checks and balances, even in the industry of people that are trying to do things right, are genuinely like the tools are still in the primitive stage. Decentralized more so than centralized. Centralized has very sophisticated tools in comparison. Decentralized is just starting because this FTX debacle, we'll call it a debacle, it's really prompted a lot of, like, I even saw the largest exchange in the world right now for crypto is called Binance. Not finance, but Binance, right? And their CEO was on there. He's like, yeah, decentralized tools are going to be coming along pretty quickly, I think. And we saw this, this video on it. I was like, yeah, you bet they are. We've got a head start. We just went at that. That seemed like the right way to do it. But now we look like, well, yeah, we were really right.
All right, we're talking to Rob, Theo, and Lawrence from getanubit.com. And, of course, a lot of emphasis on what it is that they are doing. But that FTX thing is it's a massive story right now. And there's a question there about whether or not people who are looking at crypto, who are interested in blockchain technology at all, should be put off by that, should be biding their time because of that. What exactly does that translate to in terms of you and me, whether it's a new bit, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's something else altogether? What does that translate to in terms of you and me making use of this? And is it going to kill the industry? A little bit more with the guys from getanubit.com when we get back on the afternoon drive on KMJ.
KMJ News now.
It's 4:30 in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. Well, the drunk driving case against Lori Rossi Gallo is being moved to January 12th. Gallo's attorney requested it was granted a continuance for her preliminary hearing. Gallo arrested this past January after allegedly driving 125 miles an hour, then hitting multiple cars. She is the wife of cheese magnate Mike Gallo. Gas prices in the Fresno area are decreasing. AAA reports the average cost for a gallon of regular gas in Fresno, $5.23. That's 3 cents less than yesterday, 9 cents less than last week. The average price of gas in Madera, $5.15, 6 cents less than yesterday. It's 12 cents less than last week's average. It's been 5 days since 4 University of Idaho students murdered in their home. FAIR has grabbed the campus over the fear of the killer on the loose. The latest on this investigation is from ABC's Alex Stone.
Police in Moscow, Idaho are now going to businesses trying to find anyone who bought a fixed Rambo-style knife in recent weeks. They're also talking to 2 roommates who were at home when their housemates were murdered. The 2 women are cooperating. But Latah County prosecutor Bill Thompson says they still have no idea who committed the murders.
We're hoping maybe somebody in the community will come forward that might have heard something or said something.
He tells ABC News so many students have left the University of Idaho campus that detectives are now having to travel to interview students. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Another chilly start to the morning with some mid to upper 30s across the Central Valley. Expect more of that tonight. Afternoon highs, though, are holding steady for us. Today we're in the low 60s. As for the weekend, plenty of sunshine with some occasional haziness and calm winds. Similar conditions in store for the valley all the way through Thanksgiving next week. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Thank you, Jim. Southbound 41, just north of the 99. Looks like some people are walking along the side of the road, a little too close to the traffic, so be careful there. Got a car fire. This one is on the 180 at State Route 63. And emergency personnel are on the way right now to put that fire out. In Visalia, eastbound 198 at Lover's Lane, got a non-injury accident. And then back to Squaw Valley, and this is on Kings Canyon at South Hills. Car fire being reported there as well. Next update, 447. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Wait. Tell me, where'd you get that money?
Oh, this? Oh, man. All this money came from 43money.com right online.
Are you saying you went to 43money.com and got all that money you needed fast?
Man, you know it. I went to 43money.com yesterday and bam, $5,000 was in my account today. Straight up.
Now hold on. 43money.com helped you get $5,000 like that?
Yeah, man, that's right. 43money.com's lenders provide personal loans for up to $5,000 for people like you and me, even if you don't have good credit.
Man, I'm always short on cash. Can 43money.com help me get the money I need fast?
If you need extra money fast, go to 43money.com. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income. Go to 43money.com and you can get the loan you need now. Regardless of your credit, go to 43money.com to get the money you need fast. Type www.43money.com directly into the address bar. That's 43money.com. Again, 43money.com. 43money.com.
California's #1 selling RV dealer is at it again. Best RV is clearing out all 2022 models. Come in now to receive up to 40% off. Best RV needs to make room for the new models, so everything must go. Motorhomes, toy haulers, fifth wheels, travel trailers, and tent trailers, as well as Class A, B, and C. The selection is endless at Best RV. Best RV has the lowest prices, free dealer prep, and no hidden fees and financing available. It couldn't be a better time to get down to Best RV. Check them out at 5340 Taylor Court in Turlock or online at bestrv.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1979. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
Hello, I'm Megan with Oasis Adult Day Program at Valley Caregiver Resource Center. Here to remind you about the Holiday Hope Toy Drive going on now through December 9th at Oasis, located at 5377 North Fresno Street. Make this Christmas merry and bright for the young boys and girls at the Marjorie Mason Center. Your donation of new toys, books, and children's clothing will help make a child's dream come true. For more information, call me at 559-224-9121.
This report is sponsored by Mucinex DM. Say goodbye to retaking medicine every few hours. Buy Mucinex DM to get cough and chest congestion relief for 3 times longer than typical 4-hour cough and chest congestion medicines. That's 3 times longer relief for chest congestion and cough. Nothing lasts longer. Among OTC cough and cold medicines, use as directed.
Teresi tackles Fresno and California issues every day. Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
Rolling through hour 3 of the Friday show at News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi. Appreciate you hanging out. Also appreciate Rob, Theo, and Lawrence from getanewbit.com stopping by to talk about what they're doing and how it relates to you and I getting into crypto, especially after all of the headaches that we've seen in the news. This FTX situation, it's ugly, man. We're talking about a guy that, according to Forbes, was worth billions of dollars. They had sponsorships going with Formula One. One of the arenas in Miami-Dade County just yanked their naming rights license. And there are hundreds of millions of dollars in wealth just kind of sequestered around. And we'll spend a little bit of time on that. But I want to focus also on what's happening close to home and what, if anything, is the advantage to a group like Anubit over some of these exchanges, and whether centralized, decentralized. Some of this is a little bit to unpack, and I understand that. I appreciate you guys sticking with it because it is interesting, and there is a lot of potential there. And that's why we've got Theo and Rob and Lawrence in the studio. In talking about this public ledger and the ability of somebody who has the right software to go in and read that and look at that, first question that I think pops to a lot of people's minds is privacy. My old partner, in her day job, was a therapist. And at one point, I had made a comment to her about using Venmo as a way of receiving payments because she's, credit card processing, all the stuff that we're talking about. It is standard practice to avoid Venmo because of the potential privacy. Because the default is that you might not show the dollar amount, but you're showing that Bob paid Sue and back and forth.
Yeah.
With the blockchain, you've got this thing that is visible that can be audited by anybody who cares to get educated about how to look at it. What does that do to an individual user or a business's privacy? You talk about a $400 million oops that fortunately just got resolved by good faith instead of somebody hiring a hitman, which seems like it sounds like the setup of a Tom Clancy novel. Oops, I sent $500 million to the wrong person. With blockchain, with the ledger, with these publicly audited things, how's my privacy secured?
I'll tell you what, on the centralized, people haven't thought about this, but as they're going into Chapter 11, all the people that did KYC on these centralized exchanges, because the centralized entity can mismanage their funds, when they go pop, all their names are going to be part of the record. So that's something I lean a little more like libertarian in that sense. I like the idea whether I want to go public should be up to me, right? Yeah. And so with decentralized, you don't have a name attached to the wallet address.
Ledger is anonymous.
It is anonymous. It shows the activity. We don't hide any activity in the blockchain. It's fully transparent. But who owns an address isn't the matter of public record.
Okay.
There's no central thing that we do that attaches like that wallet is publicly known to be that person's. It's completely anonymous. That's part of why we really want to succeed here in the Valley, and we love the Valley's support, so that when legislation comes through, there's certain things that we know that need to be. You have to have some KYC, you have to have some accountability, But everyone's wallet and what, if they purchased a hot dog or a soda should not be the matter of public record. Or it should be their choice.
Speaking to the legislation side of things for a minute, we are seeing this kind of cleansing by fire in the crypto community right now.
Oh, very much so.
And so on the other side of this, you're going to see a lot of bad actors get shaken off. You're going to see a lot of dilettantes get shaken off. And you're going to see motivated legislators, sometimes because they understand that something needs to be done, sometimes because there's enough buzzwords they know they'll get a headline out of it. Yeah. But you're going to see legislators wanting to explore regulation. As somebody who's trying to launch this thing, as somebody who's still building business, what is it that you want to see put into place regulation-wise?
We were talking about some of the crypto's really something new. To a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah.
And so, first thing they do is they say, okay, we have all these existing systems. Does it fit in any of those categories? And it's similar to different ones. And because the systems are already there, whether it's the SEC or the committee, the Commodities Future Trading Commission, they really wanted to go in one of those buckets because they're already there and they're already doing some things to. You could argue that maybe don't protect as much as they, say they do, but that's their purpose for existing, regardless of whether they're effective or not. But for us, it's they don't even know they don't know the right questions to ask. We were talking about in the office. We were talking about for exchange onboarding, they've got this huge tedious process where they really vet institutions getting onboarded. They go
like pulling teeth.
It's ridiculous. So here's a company, let's list it Binance. They're the big dogs. Their process for us onboarding onto their exchange is nothing short of submit all your personal tax returns for each, holder for the last 3 years, mother's maiden name, what's your, they want to know everything about you, full background, which is wonderful. I like that because I like the idea of having doxed teams that, are real people, not, somebody that's, in the shadows. I love that idea. But the same company, when it comes to onboarding and creating a new crypto. So if I'm in the shadows, I make a clever website and I know how to manipulate and load a token on the blockchain. I can literally load a token in minutes if I know how to do things right.
The time it takes to make a hot pocket, you can have a token loaded on the blockchain.
And build a website, have a token, and people can be buying it. Average people can go there and be trading it within minutes. And what they do then is they wait till they've made enough money and then they pull the rug out from under customers. Binance has zero KYC or throttling of who can onboard onto the blockchain. They do no vetting whatsoever. In fact, none of the blockchains do. Yeah. So here's the legislatures would have to know, okay, we need to make sure that they don't know the difference between an exchange and a blockchain. They're starting at ground zero. They need guidance. And unfortunately, sometimes they're cozying up to the, I guess this FTX. They were very cozy to them, happening right underneath their noses, and they didn't know enough to even to scrutinize that. And that was who they were meeting with on a regular basis. So
Square One isn't crafting legislation. Square One is teaching people who can't get the clock on their VCR to stop flashing what this stuff is and what the various components actually mean.
Yeah, so then they can ask the right questions. Then they can formulate something that's usable.
How do we protect the customer?
Yeah.
Customers do need to be protected, but what they'll end up putting is some legislation out that probably does more harm, doesn't do the goal of protecting, or stifles innovation, or all the above, where it's got to be effective and it's got to address the things that need to be addressed. Crypto is one thing I was saying earlier. It's different. It hasn't existed, so it's not typical money, and it's not like, if you think it's a security, it's not a typical security. Nothing's existed that has even gold when money was backed by gold, right?
Yeah.
If you had more gold in your vaults, you could issue more money. There was a relationship. Well, crypto can have a fixed, just an artificially capped supply, and that's a kind of a new thing. So, we were going over Bitcoin, and if they ever promised out more Bitcoin than actually exists, how does that work? With dollars, of course, the Fed just prints more dollars. But with crypto, it needs some different systems because it's truly a different creature than they've ever in financials, at least. It is smart money in its usage, or it can be, but it has some different nuances that have to be accounted for. And typical accounting doesn't necessarily work because some of these things with leveraging and lending are great with traditional, where you can just, there's a lot more money, or you can always make more. With crypto, some depending on the token, you can't make more. It's fixed, so it's got to change.
It's Rob, Theo, and Lawrence from getanewbit.com talking about what it is that they are building and how it improves on some of what's out there and may even prove to be more secure. Certainly, it's not subject to the abuses that we saw in the FTX story that's been all over the news this past week. We'll have them back soon to talk more about a new bit. And if you're interested, if you want to check it out, you can head over to getanewbit.com, learn more about what it is that they can do for you as maybe an investor, maybe as a business owner, reducing processing fees, cost of collecting payments, and that sort of thing. Getanewbit.com. A Friday afternoon continues on. It's the afternoon drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Well, this Friday afternoon, northbound 99 at Cedar got an injury accident being reported at Squaw Valley East, Kings Canyon at South Hills, the scene of a car fire. They pretty much got the fire out. They're just kind of cleaning up right now. In Chowchilla, State Route 99 at State Route 33, a hit and run. Non-injury accident vehicle is now off the roadway on the right-hand shoulder, so that should help out a whole bunch. Next update is at 5:03. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. Terms and conditions apply. Visit ISSA online for details.
Hey, how'd you like to get paid to work out? Yes, I said get paid to work out. Now you can with ISSA, the global leader in personal fitness certification. If you're interested in a money-making career in fitness as a personal trainer, now is your time because ISSA is guaranteeing you will get a job. That's right. There's a huge demand for certified personal trainers right now. So once you get ISSA certified, they guarantee you will get a job. Just text FORM to 323232 now to get started for free. You do everything at your own pace and 100% online. Live your life on your terms. Get certified and train like you want, full-time, at a gym, at home, or as a side hustle. Whatever works for you. Don't wait another day to start your career in fitness. Get certified and start making money fast, guaranteed. Just text FORM to 323232 right now to get started with your ISSA certification for free. Text the word FORM to 323232.
If you run a small business, you need the most from every investment. That's why Comcast Business gives you more. Like more innovation with our new gig speed Wi-Fi, plus unlimited data. More speed from the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. And more savings, up to 60% a year with Comcast Business Mobile. All from the company that powers more businesses than any other provider. When you need more, you need Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security for just $49.99 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Plus, ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card with a qualifying bundle. Offer ends 12/5/2022. Restrictions apply. EcoBill and AutoPay required. New 50 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Mobile Savings compares pricing of top 3 carriers.
Throughout your journey, you have taken care of yourself and don't expect to stop now. Stay on top of your healthcare needs and let Sante Physicians be your guide. If you're eligible, open enrollment is now available and only takes a few moments to sign up. Sante Physicians is here for your Medicare needs with more resources and locations than any other network in the Valley. Your doctor is here to provide you with the highest quality care, and you can act now by calling 559-234-1393. Sante Physicians, the best doctors, the best choice.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-600-5536. That's 1-800-600-5536. 1-800-600-5536.
Hi, I'm Rich Krebs. I farm pistachios with my wife Lee in Madera County. Hey, here's a shocking fact. Did you know that pistachios are grown in 25 counties in California? That's totally nuts. In fact, you can't drive from Southern California to Northern California without driving through pistachio country. So pull that car over at the next stop and pick up some delicious, nutritious pistachios, sustainably grown right here in the heart of California. Our family thanks you.
Learn more from American pistachio growers at americanpistachios.org.
The most streamed station in the Valley. PCs, phones, smart speakers, and KMJNow.com.
Thanks again to Theo, Lawrence, and Rob from GetANewBit.com for stopping by to talk about what it is they are getting off the ground right here in Fresno. These guys are locals. And I think that there's something really interesting about what they're trying to do. And in the face of that FTX story, what an ugly challenge to have to face as a local business. We'll hear more from the guys at Anubit in the days to come. But if you want to learn more, if you want to get in on it, go to GetANewBit.com. Get, G-E-T-A-N-U-B-I-T, GetANewBit.com. Rolling up on 5 o'clock. Another update of headlines coming with Jim Miller here in just a couple of minutes. But a story from Fox News about UVA shooting suspect Christopher Darnell Jones and his, they're describing them as bizarre last words to the 3 people that he killed last Sunday night. A 19-year-old pre-med student, a 19-year-old named Ryan Lynch, said that the field trip was supposed to be a bonding experience. He says Chris got up, pushed Lavelle. After he pushed him, he said, quote, "You guys are always messing with me." It was something like that. Lynch said it was bizarre because none of those victims talked to him the entire trip. Lynch said that they thought he was going to shoot everybody on the bus, and it just the gunshots just kept coming. And then the shooter just kind of skipped off the bus. All 3 of the victims were active football players. Their names are Devin Chandler, Laval Davis, and Deshaun Perry. There's also 2 victims who were wounded who survived. Another football player, Michael Hollins Jr., and Marley Morgan is a sophomore at the university. Lynch, the guy who offered these quotes, is a close friend of Marley Morgan. Another witness told police that Jones aimed the gun at Chandler and shot him as he was sleeping. The kind words about these victims, it tears your heart out, because he talks about Devin being what you wanted in a young person at that level. The coach said he was just a big kid, quote, "smiles all the time, loved to dance, loved to sing, loved to compete." The suspect's father, Christopher Darnell Jones Sr., says he last talked to his kid about a month prior to this. Jones Sr. saying, quote, he had some problems the last time I spoke to him. He said some people were picking on him. He didn't know how to handle it, and I told him just go to school. Don't pay him no mind. Do what you got to do. Dad says that Junior was very paranoid when they talked, but that he wouldn't tell him everything. Classes are back in session now. They resumed a normal schedule Wednesday for the first time. And of course, following the lockdown with the 12-hour building by building search as they were looking for Jones. Universities welcoming an external review of how they handled Jones before the shooting. There are still stories circulating about a report to the threat assessment team at UVA after somebody reported back in September that Jones was telling people he had a gun, and Jones was facing administrative charges for failing to report a prior criminal incident involving a weapons violation outside Charlottesville from back in February of 2021. That is... what an ugly thing to have happened. And is this a bullying victim who snapped? Is this somebody who had some other mental difficulty? The investigation continues, and of course, more details will be forthcoming. It's the afternoon drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ, hour 4 on the way. Don't move.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at kmjnow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Some people prefer Canon, Nikon, Sony, or Lumix, or, well, no matter what type of camera you're into. This weekend, get to Horn Photo for the huge Cash for Cameras event, where you can trade in, trade up, or get cash for your old camera gear. We have early Black Friday deals on cameras and lenses. This Thursday through Saturday, sell us your old camera gear for cash or trade it in and get an additional 10% more. Cash for Cameras at Horn Photo. Got the picture?
Best Concrete Blocks has built about 1 million of these 2,000-pound babies. It seems like everybody and his brother has a concrete block loading dock or security fence. The railroad uses concrete blocks to keep copper wire thieves away. Irrigation districts use blocks to divert water in canals around the valley. And concrete blocks are really popular with dairies. They're just about the most versatile thing on earth. When you want to keep things in or out, consider concrete blocks for just $100 when you pick them up. By the way, concrete blocks are stackable and a great alternative to chain link or wood fencing. They're long-lasting, require no maintenance, and are interlocking with built-in steel hooks for easy lifting. Best Concrete Blocks are simple and cheap and can be delivered directly to your job site. Call 288-7902 or check them out online at bestconcreteblocks.com.
We do not have a homeless crisis. We have a poverty crisis, a trauma crisis, an addiction crisis, an abuse crisis. We have my dad introduced me to meth at the age of 12, and I've been hooked on it ever since crisis. We have I have been trafficked since I was 15 years old crisis. We have I didn't choose this life crisis.
Give hope. Give to the Fresno Mission.
Your parking lot is the welcome mat to your business. If your parking lot looks old, cracked, has potholes, and you can't see the parking stalls anymore, call R. Mark Richard. They specialize in parking lot improvements, seal coating, crack filling, slurry sealing, patching, and parking lot striping. They will resurface your parking lot to look brand new for pennies on the dollar of replacing it. R. Mark Richard has highly experienced technicians to do the job right the first time. Call 559-592-9800 or go to rmarkrichard.com and put the welcome back in your parking lot.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
News Talk 580 AM, 105.9 FM, KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station.
KMJ.
It's 5 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller. Here's what's happening on your Friday. A driver arrested after running away from a rollover crash near Carruthers. CHP says the driver of a Civic was traveling northbound on Southwest Avenue north of Nebraska Avenue when they ran off the road, hitting a tree, then overturned in the front yard of a residence. They say the driver ran from the crash, leaving a passenger behind. The passenger suffered minor injuries and was partially trapped under that car. Fresno County Fire freed the victim, who was airlifted to Community Regional Medical Center. The driver located by CHP about a mile away and was arrested for suspicion of DUI. Reports of a woman not breathing in the front yard of a Fresno home turns into a homicide investigation.
Fresno County Sheriff's deputies were called to a home on McKinley near Temperance just after 7 Thursday morning for reports of a woman not breathing. Sheriff's Office spokesman Tony Body says the yet-to-be-identified 44-year-old woman was given CPR but died at the scene.
It appears to be injuries that were either not naturally done to her. It looks like somebody else is responsible for it.
Her death is now being investigated as a homicide, and the sheriff's office asks anyone who may have information on how she was killed to call Crime Stoppers at 498-STOP. Ruth Michaels, KMJ News.
Several law enforcement agencies came together to arrest a man they say is responsible for 2 Fresno shootings and a robbery. U.S. Marshal, the Fresno County Sheriff's helicopter, Fresno PD, and its K-9 all responded to Balch and Winery Avenues yesterday. They said 40-year-old Raul Flores ran into an apartment complex after trying to evade his arrest. After a short standoff with law enforcement, Flores seen coming out of an apartment with his hands up. According to investigators, the man wanted for 2 shootings in Fresno. Both were carried out on the same day, on October 31st. Water restrictions may be in store for an important western river. KMJ's Ron McCary has the story.
Federal officials are warning that they may curtail flows into the Colorado River from Hoover Dam in Nevada and Glen Canyon Dam in Arizona if California and 6 other states can't agree on a water sharing plan to help the depleted reservoirs. According to the California Farm Bureau Federation, Interior Secretary Deb Haaland has said officials are committed to taking the prompt and decisive action necessary to protect the river system. Winter vegetable farmers in the Imperial Valley, who rely exclusively on Colorado River water, have significantly reduced water use. Ron McCary, KMJ News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Another chilly start to the morning with some mid to upper 30s across the Central Valley. Expect more of that tonight. Afternoon highs, though, are holding steady for us. Today we're in the low 60s. As for the weekend, plenty of sunshine with some occasional haziness and calm winds. Similar conditions in store for the valley all the way through Thanksgiving next week. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
All right, Jim, right now we have some problems in Chowchilla State Route 99 at southbound 99 at State Route 233. We have a report of a fire at that location. Then in Kingsburg on East Mountain View Avenue at South Mendocino, non-injury accident reported there. Another one in Carruthers on South Vanderburg at West Sinclair, that too a non-injury accident. And then finally in Fresno, northbound 99 at Cedar, got an injury accident being reported there. Next update, 5:17. I'm Greg Lee, KMJ Traffic.
This hour of KMJ's Afternoon Drive is brought to you by A&E Pressure Washers, sales and service for anything and everything on your wash pad.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Now, the Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi. Philip Teresi. Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now on News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
5:05. It's News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Good afternoon and welcome to hour number 4 of the Friday installment of your afternoon drive. Phones are open and wide open Friday style at 490-5858 and 800-776-5858. You can also play along on social media at Drive KMJ as we get into your trending topics at 5 o'clock. A 22-year-old driver accused of veering into 25 law enforcement recruits, running them over, Nicholas Joseph Gutierrez, was taken into custody for the attempted murder of peace officers in Whittier, California. But Gutierrez is back on the streets after being released from custody Thursday. Los Angeles County Sheriff Alex Villanueva says the crash was not an accident. Baby Laura, a 2-month-old child from Sanger, is fighting for her life at Valley Children's Hospital. She is ill from RSV and is now on life support. If you'd like to help the family out, find the link on Facebook and Twitter at Drive KMJ. Doctors are now calling on the Biden administration to declare an emergency in response to an alarming surge of children hospitalized with RSV and flu this season. So we invited Dr. Haley Nelson, a complex care pediatrician from Valley Children's Healthcare, to talk to us about endemic COVID stats, flu season rumors, and how parents can distinguish between COVID, flu, and RSV at home and determine when it is time to seek care from their primary care physician or an emergency room. Megan Cullifer, the Golden One Credit Union Financial Education Specialist, joined the show to talk about the Financial Wellness Challenge for Kids. It's Golden One's new budget simulation workshop, which uses an interactive game to teach kids and young adults about financial literacy. Alyssa Fite is a family and consumer science teacher at Central High School East Campus, said, "Our goal is that all of our students will be successful in the real world, and we want them to practice now while we're talking about fake money, fake bills, and fake expenses." Alex Stones from ABC News joined the program to talk about the Idaho College murder investigation, where Moscow, Idaho police have released a map and a timeline of the whereabouts of 4 University of Idaho students in the hours just before they were stabbed to death. The victims were killed in a house near campus early Sunday morning and were found hours later. At this time, the police have no suspects. Theo, Omar, and Rob from GetAnubit.com stopped by to talk about the FTX collapse and what it's like starting a local crypto. And finally, University of Virginia shooting suspect Christopher Darnell Jones' final bizarre words have been revealed by another student who was on that bus Sunday night. He said that Jones pulled out a gun, shoved one of the victims, and then said, "You guys are always messing with me." This despite the 3 students he killed not having interacted with him or spoken to him over the course of that field trip to Washington, D.C. It's your trending topics at 5 o'clock for those stories and a lot more. You can get the podcast with Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon Music, or Apple Podcasts, anywhere you want to listen. Just search for KMJ's Afternoon Drive or head over to KMJNow.com. Hit the podcast tab. Not only will you find me, but you'll find all kinds of good stuff from the rest of the KMJ team. A couple of odd crime stories for you as we get into the 5 o'clock hour of your afternoon drive. And we start with what appeared to be a good Samaritan ending up in handcuffs. Atlanta police are investigating what they call a fake arrest of a motorist on a Georgia highway. Fox 5 Atlanta reports that a motorist spotted another driver collide with a vehicle, but keep going. Hit and run. Instead of calling authorities to report what he had seen, DeAndre Owens chased the guy down. Caught up with him at an off-ramp, and Mr. Owens approached the hit-and-run suspect with a rifle, wearing a police vest and carrying handcuffs. He took the hit-and-run suspect out of his vehicle and walked him over to a cop who had also arrived on the scene, at which point Owens identified himself as a bail bondsman. A local attorney tells Fox 5, Owens had no authority to do what he did. Georgia did away with so-called citizens' arrests after the death of Ahmaud Arbery. A bondsman can only detain an individual who may have skipped on a bond, according to an attorney who talked to Fox News named Bruce Hagan. So the driver who was suspected of the hit and run, not detained, given citations and sent on his way. Meanwhile, the bail bondsman has been charged with aggravated assault and false imprisonment. I feel like this sends the wrong message. I'm not in any way in favor of people pretending to be cops, obviously. And somebody who is falsely attempting to assert authority under the color of law when they have no entitlement to that authority. Yeah, there's a reason there's rules and laws against that. I feel like if somebody walks up to you and says, I'm a bail bondsman and I saw what you did, Mr. Hit and Run suspect, come with me. If he doesn't slap cuffs on the guy, I don't know, maybe the piece that puts it over the edge is the rifle. But considering the trouble we've had around here with hit and run drivers, that's a weird line because I don't want people running around like it's the Wild West, sticking guns in each other's faces and trying to effect arrests for what they think might be a violation of the law, although a hit and run seems like a pretty clear-cut thing. But I'm not sure that the police would stick a gun in somebody's face for just a flat-out hit and run. They might end up driving around for hours trying to pull them over, but that seems like salt in the wound. The hit and run guy gets cited out and sent on his way, and you end up getting booked. There has to be something more to this. The other one, this lady was not attempting to fly under the color of law. This lady was high. She runs out into the road, waving her arms, and eventually manages to flag down a sheriff's deputy in Stafford County. This is out in Virginia. It's 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday night. And we are talking small town Virginia. Folks started calling 911 about this lady, saying there's a chick in the roadway waving her arms. A deputy responds to the intersection and says that she was quickly approached by a woman who wanted to know if she was a real officer. Deputy Pitts is, in fact, a real officer and asked the woman what was happening. The woman says all she knows is she's really high. You've got to be in a bad way to run up to a cop, ascertain that they are, in fact, a cop, and then declare yourself to, like, you've got to think you're overdosing or dying or something. So Deputy Pitts is talking with her on the side of the road. A vehicle starts to drive past these two. As the vehicle makes their turn to go by, the suspect grabs onto the passenger door of the passing vehicle, screaming and trying to get into the car. So Deputy Pitts decides it's time to make an arrest. The loaded to the gills 20-year-old woman did not want to wear her handcuffs. During the struggle, the suspect gets a hold of the deputy's radio, keys up, and starts screaming for backup. She starts asking, this is the high lady, has stolen the deputy's radio and is now asking for backup. She also nearly shoved the deputy out into the roadway. They were having a hell of a fight. Eventually, the lady gets put into handcuffs. She gets taken to jail. And then here's a surprise, everybody. She refused to cooperate during the bond hearing. So she's being held at the Rappahannock Regional Jail pending her sobriety and ability to participate in a bond hearing. She was charged with public intoxication and obstruction of justice. I'm about 80% confident that this is not an alcohol story. This has got to be a meth thing. I mean, when I was younger, we went out, we goofed around, and there was a couple of times when you're young, you're 20-something, you overdo it. Never ran into the road screaming. Definitely never walked up to a cop to ask if they were a real cop. There's no way that this is booze. This has to be somebody who is, I mean, if it wasn't meth, it has to have been some kind of upper, because this is also not the behavior of stoners or opiate addicts. I'm glad the cop's okay. I'm glad they got this lady under control. You got to wonder, 5 years from now, assuming that this lady does not put herself in harm's way to a point where she's unable. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, couple more arrests, couple more bad nights. This lady is going to be sitting in a meeting, perhaps a meeting of people who follow 12 steps to stay on a road of happy destiny. And she's going to tell this story. And if you've never been into one of those meetings, people tell stories and folks laugh because you get these silly, over-the-top war stories. And she's going to tell this story, and people are going to laugh because it sounds insane. It sounds completely over the top. Do you carry a copy of the news coverage of this story so when you're working your way towards a anniversary chip and you talk about that moment that you hit rock bottom where you were wrestling a sheriff's deputy and using their radio to call for backup, so people will know that you aren't making that story up out of whole cloth? It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Philip Teresi hanging out with you on a Friday afternoon. Appreciate you guys sticking around. When we get back, that's a hell of a story out of Yellowstone National Park. Those hot springs are, no joke, man, and not good for swimming.
All right, in Fresno right now on northbound 99 at Cedar at the off-ramp there, got a major injury accident being reported. Also in northbound 41 at Van Ness at the off-ramp, got a non-injury accident at that location. Then at Visalia on State Route 198 at Deer Canyon Road, a non-injury accident being reported. And finally in Porterville, they're dealing on Avenue 18 at Road 264 with a injury accident. Next update happens at 5:33. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code DRIVE for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code DRIVE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code DRIVE.
Ever wonder why your business doesn't show up on online search maps, but your competitors do? It's hundreds of things. Things that Cumulus Boost can identify and fix. And that's how we boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
Folks, there have been some fumbles on the way to the big game, but he's not getting some help to get it done tonight. Here's the throw. He might go all the way. Touchdown!
Regain and optimize your sexual performance. See what Pacific Men's Clinic can do to help that bedroom touchdown. Pacific Men's Clinic, safe and pain-free, clinically proven procedure breaks up plaque and stimulates the growth of healthy new blood vessels. Call for your free consultation now at 559-550-6771. That's 559-550-6771.
Fall is the perfect season to cozy up in your new dream home. Hi, I'm Gary McDonald, and we have a few move-in ready homes waiting for you and your family in some of our most popular neighborhoods. Enjoy the highest quality craftsmanship and luxury amenities that have come to define a Gary McDonald home without the wait.
Visit our website or call Brian Hurdle at 559-307-1761 for more information. Gary McDonald Homes, California Contractors License number 847905.
Hi, this is Ron Johnson from Utah. After 10 weeks of taking Andro 400, I lost 13 pounds and my waist went from 36 to 33. That was 8 years ago. I continue to take Andro 400 and I've maintained my weight at 172. Gained muscle and energy. I'm 63 now and feel better than I have in 30 years.
Hi, this is Sherry. My husband started taking Andro 400 a few months ago, and wow, has he ever changed. He's no longer a couch potato, and he actually likes to go out and do things again. Best of all, he lost his gut, and is he looking good? All I have to say about that is...
Andro 400, the natural way to increase your testosterone. Guys, if you'd like to lose your belly fat, gain energy and muscle, and feel like you did years ago, try Andro 400, the safe, effective, and inexpensive way to boost your testosterone. Andro400.com.
Safety and security across Central Valley farms and ranches is a high priority. Rocky Pipkin here for the Pipkin Detective Agency. At PDA, we've developed a security management strategy to combat theft, contamination, cybercrime, injured persons, and potential litigation. All it takes is an opportunity for a breach to happen. Our team is trained to assess your facility and operations and provide you with preventative measures. If you are experiencing issues on your farm or ranch, it's time to go Pipkin. We have a variety of checkpoints that are used to protect you and your investment: security cameras, targeted lighting, security and warning signs, transport security, business computer security, and CPR certifications. PDA has the knowledge, technology, and power to gain control of your farm or ranch. Contact us for a no-cost assessment. Call Pipkin Detective Agency at 622-8889. That's 622-8889. When issues arise on your farm or ranch, it's time to go Pipkin. Serving the Valley since 1987.
It's 523. News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Of course, this is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Probably one of the most recognizable pieces of music of the past couple of decades. And it is, I don't know if it's causing Carrie Lake any heartburn, but it is, well, a point of contention. The estate of Tom Petty said they are exploring their legal options after failed Arizona GOP gubernatorial candidate Carrie Lake started using "I Won't Back Down" as a backing track in a video that she distributed this past week. The estate hopped on Twitter late yesterday to say, quote, "The Tom Petty estate and our partners were shocked to find that Tom's song, 'I Won't Back Down,' was stolen and used without permission or a license to promote Carrie Lake's failed campaign. This is illegal," they add. "We are exploring all of our legal options to stop this unauthorized use and to prohibit future misappropriation of Tom's beloved anthem. Thank you to all of the fans who brought this to our attention and who help us protect his legacy every day." This is one of those just odd little things about music, and especially in the age of YouTube. I think that it's really easy to forget it's not just free. It's not just there for the taking. And I've been guilty to a certain extent in production projects, but it is, the radio station pays a license for me to be able to use music. And even now, there's a little bit of debate. The license that the radio station has, and there's ASCAP and BMI. Between the two, I'm good to play music from pretty much any artist you've heard of. There's a couple other music licensing groups that exist. They're not very big, and folks who want to get radio airplay go with BMI and ASCAP as their licensing entities, because those are the two big ones, and all the radio stations pay to have licensing. But there is a question that has been getting kicked around. Does that license extend to things like a YouTube video, to a podcast? The allowance for sampling. If I only use a few seconds of a song because I'm using it as production for my show, is that okay? If I use an entire piece of music as an intro, is that okay? And then there's the question of, does an artist chase down every disc jockey in America, every podcaster in America who uses a snippet of music in a context that isn't costing them money and isn't in any way controversial or portraying them in a light they don't want to be portrayed in? I always thought it was very interesting. I'm sure you guys will remember once upon a time there was a guy named Rush Limbaugh who used to be a part of the lineup here at KMJ. And as far as I know, starting back prior to his being syndicated, he started using My City Was Gone from the Pretenders as the intro music to each hour of his show. Now, I don't really know anything about the Pretenders' politics, I'll be honest. The political proclivities of the creative class are too much for me to keep track of. But Limbaugh was Limbaugh. And this piece of music was, I think in the minds of a lot of people, it was just Rush Limbaugh's intro music. And somewhere around the time that he started to accelerate into his national syndication, somebody brought it to the attention of the Pretenders that, hey, this big mouth on the radio is using your song. And of course, he had been covered as a local talk show host by that BMI ASCAP license that makes it okay for me to play it. But again, we get to the weird little nuances, and in national syndication, you've got a different situation. And they got in touch with Limbaugh. And I think that it actually started as a lawyer's thing. It started out a little prickly. And Limbaugh asked them, what can I do? I love the song. I love the message of the song. I love the sound of the song. I've been using this thing for years, and I want to keep using it. What could I do? And the response from the bandmates was for Limbaugh to make a donation, and I might be getting the amount wrong, but if I recall correctly, he ended up donating like $1 million to the SPCA or something in that vein. But basically, it came down to he made a fat donation in the name of the band to one of their favorite charities, and they gave him permission to keep using the music. That was in a very different time in this country when people could disagree politically and not just automatically descend into madness and rage. I'm not suggesting that the Tom Petty estate is insane for not wanting this person to use their music without a license. I will suggest that probably the pot-smoking, folk music hippie king might not be entirely on board with the ultra-conservative, election-denying Arizona gubernatorial candidate who was most recently seen on the road to Mar-a-Lago. This is why I don't think Carrie Lake's going to turn this into World War III. While I absolutely believe that the woman will push for what she thinks is hers, I can't imagine fighting with the estate of Tom Petty is a hill that she or her campaign want to die on. And it looks at this point like that the campaign for governor is well and truly over, despite the fact that she has not yet conceded. But yesterday, Kari Lake hopped a plane to Mar-a-Lago. She was down in Florida hanging out with Donald Trump. The America First Policy Institute was hosting a luncheon down there. And when she walked into the room, she got a standing ovation. Now, the America First Policy Institute's doing their gala at the Trump Club tonight. An agenda says that the aim of the event is to ensure policies are prepared and finalized for new sessions of Congress and the State House. And while Lake has still not conceded her defeat in Arizona, is it silly? Is it out of line to think that maybe she's not at Mar-a-Lago to talk about Arizona? That maybe, considering the profile that she has achieved after the campaign, is it conceivable that Kari Lake is at Mar-a-Lago, one, to attend this event, to put in her 2 cents, but also maybe talk to President Trump about this run in 2024? Would Kari Lake be a terrible running mate for him? I know there's folks that are advocating for Ron DeSantis. I know there's people who really want to see that, and I have been told, and I don't know that it's gospel truth, but it seems to be generally accepted wisdom, that Trump and DeSantis running on the same ticket, that you have Trump as president, DeSantis as VP, that would create some sort of complication with the Electoral College that would be undesirable. Kari Lake's not from Florida. No complication there. She looks good on camera. No problem with her getting out and speaking her mind in front of a crowd, and she has been all in on Donald Trump as long as her voice has been in the political arena, which has not been long. Would she be a good running mate for Trump? Or, conversely, would Kari Lake be Donald Trump's Sarah Palin and turn into her own center of gravity to the detriment of the campaign? Curious what you think about that. We got a couple of minutes left to play if you want to join in. 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. Right now, news time with Jim Miller.
KMJ News now.
It's 5:30 in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. Fresno police officials say they need help identifying 2 suspects involved in placing a card skimmer device at a store. The department released video footage yesterday showing 2 men wearing construction vests. Authorities said they found the device at a 7-Eleven on Ashland and Marks last Thursday. That skimmer device is used to steal credit card information. Fresno's Mayor Jerry Dyer said he's heading to Sacramento to make sure his city receives the right amount of funding for homelessness efforts. Governor Newsom said he paused the funding because the city's not making enough progress. City officials say Fresno was supposed to receive $7.5 million, but only received $1.5 million so far. They say the money will go towards Project Home Key. Elon Musk summons Twitter software engineers no matter where they are. ABC's Dave Packer reports.
Following Thursday's wave of departures from Twitter, new owner Elon Musk sending out a pair of emails asking that anyone who writes code for the company to come immediately to Twitter headquarters in San Francisco, show what they've been working on, and help him understand what he called the Twitter tech stack. Musk seems to want engineers to come to him from wherever they are, telling them to fly to San Francisco on Friday, that he'd be working late and writing only those that cannot get to Twitter HQ or have a family emergency are excused. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Another chilly start to the morning with some mid to upper 30s across the Central Valley. Expect more of that tonight. Afternoon highs, though, are holding steady for us. Today, we're in the low 60s. As for the weekend, plenty of sunshine with some occasional haziness and calm winds. Similar conditions in store for the valley all the way through Thanksgiving next week. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Thank you, Jim. Eastbound 180, just west of 41, got an injury accident right now, and a lot of traffic backed up because of that. In Selma, northbound 99 at Highland, a couple of vehicles and a non-injury accident being reported there. And Centinela is on State Route 152 at Hilldale. Got another non-injury accident. Next update, 547. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Experience the wonder and light of Illuminature, Fresno Chaffee Zoo's all-new cultural spectacular featuring handmade lanterns. You've never seen a zoo lit up like this before. Get tickets now through January 22nd at FresnoChaffeeZoo.org.
For Thanksgiving, Save Mart has delicious, complete meals that serve 6 to 8 people. Just buy online, pick up in-store, or order at the deli counter. And right now, when you spend $50 or more, 12 to 20-pound Jenny O fresh turkeys are 99 cents a pound, and Jenny O or Honeysuckle White Whole frozen turkeys are 55 cents a pound. Limit 1 restrictions apply. Cook's spiral sliced hickory half hams are $2.49 a pound, and clementines are $3.49 in 3-pound bags. Eat, drink, and save at Save Mart.
Do you own an agricultural business and want to grow and make more money? Then it's time to become an affiliate or a preferred vendor of the Ag Center today. Don York, KMJ Ag Director. You can join agriculture's one and only lead generation and networking platform. Be among other exclusive agricultural businesses offering products, services, consulting, and ag tech to farmers of all sizes. Contact the Ag Center today at theagcenter.com.
LampyDodge.com. Get into Lampy Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Visalia. Right now, you could save $9,684 on every new 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab in stock and get 0% financing. You get $3,500 in rebates, $2,000 when you finance through Chrysler Capital, and the Lampy discount of $4,184 to save $9,684 off MSRP.
0% requires financing through Chrysler Capital, subject to credit approval. Not all applicants will qualify. Offers expire 11/30/22. Plus government fees and taxes, any finance charges, any dealer document processing charge, any electronic filing charge, and any emission testing charge.
Plus, you still get that Lampy lifetime limited warranty. The full details and current inventory is available right now at LampyDodge.com.
New vehicles arriving daily.
Your new Chrysler Dodge Jeep or Ram is practically in your backyard in Visalia. It's the Black Friday sales event at Lampy Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram just off the 198 across from the airport in Visalia.
LampyDodge.com.
I'm Chris Walls, and I'm a truck driver from Missouri. For 13 hours a night, I sit in my truck and I drive. Out of boredom, I'll stop and eat. If I'm not doing fast food, I guarantee there's a bag of chips open on my dashboard. Along with that, I'm good for about 4 liters of soda a night. That was all until Andro 400. I started out 4 months ago weighing 341 pounds, and since taking Andro 400, I have dropped 45 pounds. I'm sleeping better. There's no cravings. My knee pain went away. I've had some lower back issues, and I've noticed that went away, and I can only contribute that to Andro 400. One thing that Andro 400 said on the radio ad says it attacks belly fat. Well, let me tell you, it did. I've lost 6 inches. This product really does work.
So guys, if you'd like to experience similar results, then get Andro 400, the safe, natural, and inexpensive way to boost your testosterone. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435.
'Tis the season to dash for $550,000 cash. Win your share of $42,000 weekly at drawings every Thursday and Friday. It's the Holiday Dash for Cash giveaway now through December 23rd. Only at Chukchansi Gold Resort and Casino.
Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now.
And unfortunately, I'm furious about what's going on, so I can't enjoy the call as much as I would otherwise.
The Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
Rolling through hour 4 of the Friday show. It's your afternoon drive at News Talk 580 and 1059 KMJ. Last call for your calls at 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. The great one, Mark Levin, rolling up after ABC News at the top of the hour, of course. This story looks to me so much like one of those tinfoil hat fever dreams where you've got some lunatic standing up against a corkboard covered in random pictures and magazine clippings and red yarn and thumbtacks. But it's not. The United States government is deeply concerned about the Chinese government setting up unauthorized police stations on American soil. The director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, talked to lawmakers yesterday saying that this may be base stations for the Chinese Communist government to pursue so-called influence operations. A European human rights organization, Safeguard Defenders, put out a report back in September revealing the presence of dozens of these so-called service stations. They're putting them in major cities all over the world. New York was one spot where they said they were sure that this was operating. Now the questions are being asked, why hasn't the administration done anything about this? The report says the stations are an extension of Beijing's effort to pressure Chinese nationals in the United States or to bother their relatives, to try and force them to return to China, sometimes to face criminal charges, and sometimes because they want them to participate in influence peddling and the spreading of propaganda. FBI Director Wray told the Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee, quote, "I'm very concerned about this. We are aware of the existence of these stations." He acknowledges the FBI has been working on it, but won't get into the details. He says, "It's outrageous to think that the Chinese police would attempt to set up shop in New York without proper coordination. It violates sovereignty and it circumvents standard judicial and law enforcement cooperation processes." Rick Scott, Republican, asked if these things violate U.S. law, and the FBI is apparently looking into legal parameters. You've got a foreign government that could be reasonably described as hostile, if not enemy, putting agents of their government into American cities in an organized and coordinated effort to harass their own nationals and to establish and protect and defend Chinese government interests. Now, we have embassies for every country with whom we have diplomatic relations who can afford to set up an embassy. I mean, if you go into Washington, D.C., it's I mean, they literally got a strip of road, call it a strip of road, it's miles, called Embassy Row. And I mean, countries you'd never even think of, and they've got these beautiful old houses that have been set up. Obviously, the Chinese are going to have an embassy in the United States, maybe more than one. If you've got diplomatic relations with their government and they're following the rules, they're acting in above board fashion, yeah, of course, why wouldn't you have an embassy? Why wouldn't you have a point of contact for Chinese nationals who need help from their government, for American politicians and lawmakers who are trying to coordinate on whatever point of concern, for business owners? As much as I dread the idea of American business getting further into bed with the Chinese, it makes perfect sense that you would have an official presence in large cities that, again, is known and that is coordinated and that has all of those diplomatic I's dotted and T's crossed. To have a government of a country that we are still not on beautiful terms with. I know that we were starting to see some movement under the Trump administration in getting China to concede what the relationship really is and should be. I cannot imagine that these sprung up overnight. I cannot imagine that you saw major cities begin to absorb Chinese government shadow operations just in a couple of years. I'm not saying it's out of the question, but this is a bizarre idea. Could you imagine the British government, the United Kingdom? Could you imagine the German government behaving this way? Never in a million years. The Japanese government wouldn't do this. Not now. Under other circumstances, I would think that a country that was genuinely concerned about protecting its sovereignty and protecting the rights both of citizens and foreign nationals on American soil, that they would treat this as a hostile act, that there would be consequences for this. And I just, the current administration, I fear terribly, is too weak and too distracted to deal with this appropriately and effectively. There is no reason that this should be allowed. And yeah, this goes back to something that I've been saying about the housing crisis. And I don't know that it would necessarily solve a large swath of it, but it seems to me to be one piece of the puzzle. I've never had a problem with somebody who is here, who is present, who is participating in our economy and following our laws, having a place to live in this country. And if you happen to be of the financial means to buy a place to live, more power to you. Congratulations in this economy. And while you are here lawfully, and while you are occupying that domicile, I have no hesitation about allowing those individuals to buy it, to enjoy the equity gain. If you are a foreign national and you are not occupying that domicile, there is no logic by which you can argue that any other government, any other foreign national, should be free to buy up American homes, American commercial space. Now, I know there's landlords that'll scream and yell and say that I'm going to damage their bottom line or whatever. And look, I know that this is not as simple as a finger snap. But if the Chinese government is maintaining so-called police stations and they are engaged in anti-American activity, the route to excusing them, putting them on a plane, and sending them on their merry way should be much shorter. And then you can turn the housing into something for, I don't know, people who aren't trying to subvert the government of the United States of America. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi. Thanks for hanging out.
In Fresno, westbound 68 at the 180, we're looking at an injury accident right now. And on northbound 41 at Van Ness, a hit-and-run, non-injury accident there. Then to Madera County and Santanella, State Route 152 at Hilldale, a non-injury accident being reported. Watch your speeds on the roadway. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Miss one of your favorite KMJ shows? Grab the podcast anytime. Just ask your smart speaker. Get it on Apple, Google, Amazon, Spotify, or go to the podcast page at kmjnow.com.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code DRIVE for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code DRIVE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code DRIVE.
Mike Sherinian, owner of The Elbow Room.
The new Elbow Room Market. We'll do gift baskets at any price point, but conglomeration of really unique boutique type items to build a gift basket. We've got great wood wine boxes. We've got unique sauces and spices, and we will craft something for you that is truly unique.
What was once offered only in a handful of world-class steakhouses is now yours at the Elbow Room. Dry-aged beef, prepared under precise temperature and humidity for 28 days. Our dry-aged 1855 New York steaks and ribeyes deliver flavor and tenderness you've only dreamed of.
Gift baskets could be a birthday gift, an anniversary, it could be a housewarming gift, a thank you for doing business with me. Let us know what you want and we will design it for you.
The Elbow Room and new Elbow Room Market in Fig Garden Village. Call 227-1234.
A story of first downs and second chances. Meet former pro football player Michael Robinson.
I wanted to keep playing, but my feet hurt.
And all those big league experts couldn't help?
You have access to anything, but none of it worked.
Finally, he got fitted with Good Feet arch supports.
Let me tell you something. They work.
Now, he recommends Good Feet to
anybody. If you move, go to the Good Feet store.
Sign up for your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Step into your Good Feet store in Fresno, Merced, and Visalia.
Attention! Did you or a loved one live at or near Marine Base Camp Lejeune in North Carolina between 1953 and 1987? If so, listen closely for this important legal announcement. From 1953 to 1987, Marines and their family members at Camp Lejeune drank water that was contaminated with hazardous toxins. The toxins found in the water at Camp Lejeune may cause health issues, especially later in life. Types of health issues associated with water at Camp Lejeune are numerous. If you or a loved one lived near Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation without going to court. Even if you were turned down in the past, a new law can allow you to file a claim today. If you or a loved one spent time near Camp Lejeune, call the Negligence Network to find out if you're eligible for financial compensation. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call 1-800-600-5536. That's 1-800-600-5536. 1-800-600-5536.
Managing your online presence takes time, effort, and expertise. It can overwhelm even the savviest business owner. So, meet Cumulus Boosts. We're experts at boosting the online presence for businesses of every type. We make sure potential customers can easily find you and really like what they find. Your website, online listings, consumer reviews, and more. Cumulus Boost. Online at cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
Everything that happens in Fresno's got to run the gauntlet at KMJ. It is such a blessing for you all to have what you have. It's been 100 years of communicating with your community. There's nothing like that for 1,000 miles.
And so ends our broadcast day.
Rolling up on 6 o'clock at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Woo! First week in the books without Skip. I'm feeling it, man. I don't know what we're going to do yet. I'm curious what you guys think of the solo thing. But give me another week. Still got my legs underneath me. I got spoiled. I've had two of the best broadcasters in this market. Two really wonderful partners. I mean, I was spoiled working with Chris, man. That was just show up and be ready to react. And with Skip, man, we hit a groove. And it is different. I'm not complaining. I'm enjoying myself, but it's different. Like I said, give me another week and then tell me whether or not we should keep rolling this way. Couple more minutes to play, and This is sad. Alma Galvin is with the Better Business Bureau, and she says that we're seeing a lot of scam websites grabbing puppy dog photos, sometimes straight up off a Google image search, sometimes by going to actual breeders' websites and social media. And they're setting up scam websites for people who want to buy specific breeds of dog. And they talk about Dachshunds. They talk about Frenchies. They talk about English Bulldogs. And I know for a fact This is happening like with German Shepherds and Labradoodles too. More than a third of the complaints coming into the Better Business Bureau's scam tracker right now involve scam pet sales. They talk about this one woman, Daphne Wilson. She wanted to surprise her son with a dog of his own. Found an online pet store, sent in her 50% deposit, was at Oakland International Airport waiting for the dog to arrive. And was waiting, and was waiting, and was waiting. The plane never showed up because the dog didn't exist and the flight number wasn't legitimate. A lady named Judy found a corgi on a website. What puzzled her about that is that corgi that she found had been euthanized the year before. Somebody just stole the picture off of her Facebook page and put it up. There's a guy who dropped $5,200 trying to buy a dog. If you've got to have a pure breed, I'm not going to scold you. I've got 2 SPCA rescue mutts. One of them is mostly German Shepherd. One of them is mostly Pit Bull. I've been pretty happy, and I did not pay $5,000. But if you're trying to find a breeder, man, ask for references. Holy smokes, this is a bummer. Also, remember, dogs live a long time. I got to go. Mark Levin's up after an update of headlines from the ABC Newsroom. Before that, we'll hear from our friends at the Valley's Legends and Legacies. Thank you all for your calls, for your time, for your kind words, for Skip. I'll see you Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. And if you missed any of today's interviews, head over to KMJNow.com. Hit the podcast tab. They're already waiting for you. Have a great weekend.
The Valley's Legends and Legacies are brought to you as a public service by the family of Bill Tatham Sr. for you to experience the value of